Then I went to Douluo. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51, White Sugar Combination in the Fighting Spirit Arena. Ningrongrong frowned, her face showing contempt and a bit of disdain. This is not a battlefield, it's just an academy. Ah, here it comes. The witch's true colors are revealed. Tang Liu rolled his eyes and said secretly. In order not to get involved and prevent Flanders from using him as material to teach Ningrongrong a lesson, he revealed to Flanders in the morning that he knew that he would go to the Great Soul Fighting Arena in the evening. If he also ran with him at that time, then now he would have to face the choice of lying for Ningrongrong or directly exposing Ningrongrong. That would be too troublesome, so it's better not to get involved. The most important thing is to run 20 laps, so tiring. Although he is already a soul master, he doesn't want to run a single step. Well, I'm a homebody and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Then things were simple. Ningrongrong successfully surprised several people and their impression of her changed greatly. But how could a little girl like Ningrongrong be a match for Flanders, so she soon lost in the confrontation with Flanders. What about Oscar? I must be better than him. He is also an auxiliary spirit master, and he is just a small food spirit master. He can't be as good as me. Ningrongrong was a little dissatisfied with Flanders' previous devaluation of her by comparing her with a few people present, except Tang Liu. Flanders just told her that Oscar was born with full spirit power, which shocked her. Impossible, how can an auxiliary spirit have innate full spirit power, she exclaimed. Well, I am also an auxiliary spirit, but I also have innate full spirit power, Tang Liu silently interrupted at this time, making Ningrongrong doubt her life even more. However, he was a spirit master at the age of 12, and the ratio of 1 yellow, 1 purple and 1 black spirit ring made Ningrongrong subconsciously put him out of the comparison range, so she didn't feel so bad. But the fact that Oscar was born with full spirit power still shocked her to the extreme. Soon, she ran away crying and was completely defeated. Flanders smiled mysteriously. You little brat, can't our golden iron triangle deal with a little girl? After that, Flanders asked Dime Yubei to call Oscar back. After Dime Yubei came back, he led everyone to Soto City. On the way, Tang Liu thought of the matter of full innate soul power, and couldn't help but fall into deep thought. Not only did he have full innate soul power, but he also had super innate soul power at level 20. The virtual Blue Silver Emperor and the Clear Sky Hammer were both top-level martial souls, but they didn't bring him full innate soul power. According to his thoughts before awakening his martial soul, he thought that his martial soul was also one of the Blue Silver Grass and the Clear Sky Hammer, or it was a twin martial soul like Tang San. According to his estimation, he could at least have a third-level innate soul power as a foundation. This is just the result of referring to Tang Wuolin if he only had the Blue Silver Grass. If the Clear Sky Hammer is added, it should be able to reach level 7. In other words, the Clear Sky Hammer can provide him with about level 4 innate soul power. But later, his Blue Silver Grass mutated and awakened directly to become the Void Blue Silver Emperor, giving him an innate level 5 soul power. Adding the level 4 soul power of the Clear Sky Hammer, his true soul power level should be level 9. In this way, his Clear Sky Hammer talent is actually not as good as Tang Hao's. Although it is not clearly stated in the original work, since Tang Hao can become the youngest titled Douluo on the continent, his innate soul power is at least level 8 or 9, and it is not impossible to have full innate soul power. But in addition to the Void Blue Silver Emperor and the Clear Sky Hammer, Tang Liu also has the third martial soul that allowed him to travel through time, the Haolin magic. It is this mysterious third martial soul that gave him an innate level 20 soul power. Moreover, the system's description of the Haolin magic is also accompanied by a sentence, a powerful and mysterious force from another world, which shows the power of this martial soul. Perhaps, the ability of this Haolin magic has yet to be developed, Tang Liu thought secretly. Everyone is a soul master above level 20, so they soon arrived at Soto City. Flanders took them to a tea house and ordered a cup of the cheapest tea for each person, revealing his stingy nature. Then, he began to tell everyone about the content of the first class, Fighting Spirit. Soon, the time was up, and Flanders led everyone into the big Fighting Spirit arena. After introducing the registration rules, Tang San, Tang Liu, Xiao Wu and Zhu Xiuqing, who had not yet registered, went to register. After filling out the registration form, they had to test their spirit power in order to determine their opponents. However, this was not like the test in the academy. When testing the spirit power, there were people to check to prevent the situation of hiding strength. But Tang Liu also had a way to deal with it. This was also a method he had figured out, the use of the Shaolin mark, which could store and hide part of his own spirit power, but it was only temporary, but it was enough to cope with the test. Soon the test was completed, and his spirit power result was level 31. Just like Xiao Wu was going to find Tang San to sign up for the 2-on-2, Tang Liu also started looking for someone. However, since his spirit power tested was level 31, he could only find a spirit master who was also a spirit master to compete. Among them, Dai Mubei was the only one who had reached the level of soul master. Brother Bai, are you interested in signing up with me for a 2-on-2 match? Tang Liu nudged Dai Mubei and said, I'm here to help you fly. When fighting with Zhao Wuji, Tang Liu's auxiliary ability was obvious to all, and he also wanted to quickly accumulate some points. Participating in a 2-on-2 match was a good way. In addition, Tang Liu was the only soul master here, so after a little thought, he agreed. Let's go and sign up, he said. At the registration office, when reporting the name of the group, Tang Liu suddenly had an idea and said, let's call it the White Sugar Group, Dai Mubei, White, Sugar and Candy. The staff in charge of registration confirmed. Tang Liu nodded, not giving Dai Mubei a chance to refute. After getting the iron plate with the words white sugar engraved on it to prove their identity, the two left. Thank you for following me this morning, Tang Liu said suddenly. Dai Mubei was stunned for a moment, then smiled and said, it's nothing, you're welcome. Tang Liu patted his arm with the back of his hand, and a blue-black spirit ring flashed under his feet, but no one noticed. Anyway, you're a good person. He smiled and said. Dai Mubei shook his head helplessly. A battle had already begun in the fighting spirit field over there, and it was Xiao Wu's 1-on-1 match. Tang Liu and Dai Mubei just caught up with the start of the match. Chapter 52 Tang Liu's 1-on-1. Which match are we in? Tang Liu asked while watching the match. Just behind Xiao San and Xiao Wu, Dai Mubei replied, however, you are a support-type spirit master, are you sure you want to participate in a 1-on-1 competition? That's right, Tang Liu also signed up for a 1-on-1 fighting spirit competition, and just happened to be behind Tang San. Tang Liu nodded and said, I want to give it a try. If I'm not sure, I will admit defeat, then you should be careful. Dai Mubei nodded slightly and casually said a concerned sentence. Xiao Wu's opponent is a power-type spirit master with the spirit of Ironhorn Bull. According to the description of the Invincible of the same level in Shrek Academy in later generations, the Spirit Master was naturally knocked off the competition stage by Xiao Wu in one encounter. After that, it was Tang San and Zhu Zhuking's match. Brother, be gentle, Dai Mubei came to Tang San at some point, patted his shoulder, and whispered. Tang San smiled, nodded to him, and then walked towards the competition stage below. As for Zhu Zhuking, she had already gone down to prepare for the competition when the host read out her name. As expected, the control system restrained the spirit masters of other systems, so the battle between Tang San and Zhu Zhuking ended quickly, and Tang San won easily. After completing the 1-on-1, Tang San and Xiao Wu returned to the stands, ready to watch Tang Liu's game before participating in the 2-on-2. The next to appear is Tang Liu, a level 31 spirit master with a weapon spirit, the virtual spirit Blue Silver Emperor, and Li Jiaying, a level 36 spirit master with a beast spirit, the Phantom Snake. As the host's voice sounded, Tang Liu prepared to go to the competition. Xiao Liu, be careful, Tang San said, his eyes full of encouragement. Tang Liu nodded, and then entered the venue. After going on stage, the audience was shocked again after being surprised by Xiao Wu and Tang San's age. Because of Tang Liu's height and childish face, people would definitely believe that he was 8 years old. Therefore, the audience found it unbelievable that he had the cultivation of a spirit master at such a young age. Tang Liu didn't care about the audience's doubts, but looked at his opponent, a girl who looked about 15 or 16 years old, who looked like a student of the Intermediate Soul Master Academy in Soto City. Little brother, how old are you? Li Jiaying couldn't help asking after seeing his face. Tang Liu, who was afraid of being criticized for his height, said shamelessly, I'm 9 years old this year, sister, you are so young, and you have the cultivation of a soul master. Li Jiaying looked unconvinced. Well, Actually, I'm 12 years old this year, little sister." Speaking of soul power cultivation, Tang Liu still told the truth. Although he reported his real age, Li Jiaying was still surprised. 12-year-old soul master. However, she also knew that she was participating in the competition, so she released her martial soul, and 3 soul rings, 1 white and 2 yellow, rose from under her feet. At the same time, her already slender figure seemed to become softer, and the skin exposed outside the clothes seemed to have some scales refracting light under the light. Phantom Snake, a soul beast that is good at speed, so this girl should be a soul master of the agility attack system. That is to say, it is the most restraining spirit master of the auxiliary back row like Tang Liu. Little brother, be careful, Li Jiaying is definitely a simple girl. Of course, it is also possible that it is because Tang Liu is too good looking that she can't do it. When Li Jiaying's voice fell, her 10-year spirit ring lit up, and the whole person turned into faint after image and rushed towards Tang Liu. However, Tang Liu's reaction was not slow. He released his martial spirit when she just opened her mouth. The virtual blue-silver emperor grew out, but the spirit rings rising from his feet were 3 yellow. And the cause of this effect is naturally the credit of Xiao Funi, who has been hiding in his arms. After seeing his spirit ring, the audience no longer doubted it and exclaimed one after another. At the same time, in the stands, several people from Shrek were also a little surprised. Xiao San, how did Xiao Liu's spirit ring become 3 yellow? Xiao Wu was the first to ask. Tang San smiled and explained, it should be the innate skill of the jade fox that Xiao Liu raised, which concealed the true color of his spirit ring. After all, Xiao Liu's spirit ring ratio is really shocking, isn't it? This morning, Tang Liu also told Tang San about Xiao Funi's ability to disguise spirit rings. Everyone understood it. At the same time, on the field, Li Jiaying almost came in front of Tang Liu, and then slapped Tang Liu with a palm. Although he knew Tang Liu's strength, Tang San's heart was still hanging at this moment. Seeing that Li Jiaying was about to hit Tang Liu's first and second spirit rings flashed one after another. At the same time, he rushed forward, and it looked like he was actively facing Li Jiaying's attack. But the audience's doubts and surprise disappeared soon, and all turned into astonishment. Because Tang Liu rushed forward, the whole person just passed through Li Jiaying, and then disappeared into the air. Void spirit control, plus void spirit anonymity. Except for the Shrek people who knew Tang Liu's soul skills, the other audiences were all confused. The audience was confused, and Li Jiaying, as the person involved, was even more confused. How did he dodge it? If I'm not mistaken, he seemed to pass through me, right? Moreover, how could a living person disappear? However, she soon thought that this situation was most likely the result of Tang Liu's soul skills. So, she instantly activated her third soul skill, Phantom Thorn. She was seen spinning in a circle on the spot, and then black spikes flew out in all directions with residual images. Her response was very smart. To deal with a soul master with stealth soul skills, if the opponent's position cannot be locked, the most useful way is to attack in range. However, since Tang Liu is now in the virtual state of the void spirit control, the effect of the void spirit concealment that will cancel the stealth state when attack does not apply to him. Therefore, even if he is hit by Li Jiaying's Phantom Thorn, he will not show his figure, let alone be hurt. In fact, at this moment, Tang Liu was only less than 3 meters in front of Li Jiaying. When Li Jiaying's attack ended, Tang Liu began to counterattack. Above his left eye, a green flame pattern that made people's scalp numb instantly appeared. Between the flashes of light, it was as if the flame was burning and jumping. The next moment, the flame jumped more violently. And a spiritual force that was invisible to the naked eye shot out from his left eye and landed on Li Jiaying. Launch an attack, and the stealth effect is lifted. Chapter 53 White Sugar Combinations 2 on 2. Li Jiaying saw his figure appearing, and when she wanted to launch an attack, it was too late. After being hit by the spiritual power, Li Jiaying was frozen in place, no longer moving. At the same time, her eyes were covered with a lifeless green color, and her consciousness was trapped in the environment. The left eye of the demon eye of the external soul bone, psychedelic gaze. Tang Liu's spiritual power, which he had cultivated for 6 years, was not for show. Now his spiritual power was equivalent to that of a 5-ring soul king. It was naturally easy for him to make Li Jiaying, who was a soul master, fall into the illusion. However, In order to prevent anyone from seeing that he was using the power of the external soul bone, he also made his third soul ring light up when launching the psychedelic gaze, so that the people watching thought he was using the third soul skill. After Li Jiaying fell into the illusion, Tang Liu walked to her side calmly, then patted her lightly, and looked at the host. "Can I announce that I won?" The host was stunned for a second, then announced Tang Liu's victory, and then reminded him to register the points. Tang Liu nodded, and then walked down the stage. It was at this time that Li Jiaying finally escaped from the illusion. Moreover, it was Tang Liu who took the initiative to remove it, otherwise she would have been trapped in it forever. When he arrived at the registration office, Tang San, Xiao Wu and Daimyo Bei were already waiting for him there. "Xiao Liu, what ability did you use to make that phantom snake soul master fall into a sluggish state?" Xiao Wu couldn't help asking when she saw him. Tang Liu registered first, and then motioned everyone to walk a few steps away before answering her in a low voice, "It's the soul bone." "Ah!" the three of them exclaimed at the same time. Tang Liu shook his head at them, and then said, "There are too many people here, I will tell you in detail when we get back. Now let's go and prepare for the 2-on-2 match." Several people nodded, and then walked together to the 2-on-2 competition area. Compared with the 1-on-1, there are fewer spectators here. When they just arrived at the 2-on-2 competition, Tang San and Xiao Wu received a notice to prepare to go on stage to compete. Their opponents were the twin brothers, Tilong and Tihu, whose martial spirits were both iron hammers, as described in the original novel. The law of invincibility at the same level was once again reflected in Tang San and Xiao Wu. However, the second spirit skills of the Tai brothers caused Tang San and Xiao Wu a lot of trouble, and Xiao Wu also used a sleeve arrow, but fortunately Tang San stopped it in time. Although the process was a bit thrilling, their 3-5 combination still won. In the end, Xiao Wu helped Tang San, who was injured because he blocked an attack for her, to slowly walk off the stage. Tang Liu and Daimyo Bei responded quickly, and then used the regeneration effect of the virtual Blue Emperor domain on Tang San. The regeneration effect of Tang Liu's virtual Blue Emperor domain does not have the ability to heal, but only accelerates the body's metabolism, promotes cell division, accelerates the healing of wounds, and also has the effect of accelerating the recovery of soul power. Although there is no healing effect and Tang San cannot immediately return to his peak state, it relieves his pain to a certain extent and allows the bones that may be cracked to heal. Tang San is actually not in a serious condition, but just a little weak. He waved his hand, signaling Tang Liu and Daimyo Bei to go to the competition, while he was supported by Xiao Wu and slowly walked to the viewing area to sit down. Next is the competition between our old brand Wu Wukei combination and the newcomer Beidan combination. What kind of sparks will be created between the old and new teams? Let's wait and see. The host's voice came from afar. When he finished speaking, the two teams also came to the competition venue. On the left is the Beidan combination of Tang Liu and Daimyo Bei, one tall and one short, but both of them have extraordinary looks. On the right is the Wu Wukei combination, which are two men who are over 1.8 meters tall, slender and have similar looks. They should be about 16 or 17 years old, with ordinary looks. Hanfeng, a level 38 strong attack system war soul master, Hanyu, a level 38 control system war soul master. As soon as they came on stage, the two people started talking. Tang Liu secretly complained in his heart, "Twins again? I wonder if there will be a martial soul fusion technique?" Daimyo Bei, after a brief moment of daze, also spoke. Daimyo Bei, 37th level strong attack system combat soul master. Tang Liu followed closely. Tang Liu, 31st level auxiliary system weapon soul master. After the names were introduced, the four of them released their martial souls almost at the same time. Hanfeng and Hanyu's martial souls were somewhat strange. They were actually wind and water elements, which were also relatively powerful martial souls, and their soul rings were also the best combination of 2 yellow and 1 purple. Tang Liu's intuition told him that these should be 2 powerful opponents. Moreover, the opponent was the best combination of control and strong attack. Tang Liu still had those 300-year soul rings on him, and he seemed to be the weakest in the entire arena. The first attack was the 55-50 combination on the opposite side. I saw that their first soul rings lit up almost at the same time. The next moment, a strong wind blew on the competition stage, and the air became much more humid. Hanfeng's first soul skill, wind comes. Hanyu's first soul skill, tide gathers. Feeling the changes around him, Tang Liu thought that they should create the most suitable battlefield for themselves. So, he stopped waiting and said to Dai Mu Bei next to him, "Brother Bai, White Tiger Fierce Light Wave, hit that Han Feng." Hearing this, Dai Mu Bei's second soul ring lit up, and then a strong white light spewed out of his mouth and went towards Han Feng. Seeing that the White Tiger Fierce Light Wave was about to hit Han Feng, Han Yu also moved. The second soul skill, Tide Convergence. It was also the second soul skill. The dampness in the air quickly gathered in front of Han Feng, and finally condensed into a water shield. The water shield was not big, but it was just enough to block the White Tiger Fierce Light Wave. Seeing that the water shield was about to block the White Tiger Fierce Light Wave, Han Yu couldn't help but smile. But in the next moment, Han Yu's smile solidified. Because the White Tiger Fierce Light Wave seemed to penetrate the water shield as if it was penetrating the air, and continued to go towards Han Feng. Dai Mu Bei's left arm was wrapped with a circle of virtual blue-silver emperor vines at some point. It was the effect of the virtual control. Although he was about to be attacked, Han Feng remained calm, and his third and second soul rings lit up one after another. The third soul skill, the breeze. The second soul skill, the wind blade. The strong wind from the field gathered in two places under the effect of Han Feng's soul skill. One was on his body, and he was pushed out of the attack range of the White Tiger Fierce Light Wave just before the White Tiger Fierce Light Wave arrived. The other place was around Tang Liu, and it turned into a tornado, containing countless wind blades with extremely strong cutting ability. Chapter 54 Victory. Tang Liu activated his soul skills the moment he felt the wind direction change in the field. First, he cast a void spirit defense on himself to protect himself from the wind blade. Secondly, he cast a void spirit anonymity on Dai Mu Bei to make him enter a hidden state. There was no need for words. Dai Mu Bei rushed out the moment the void spirit anonymity took effect, and quickly rushed towards Han Feng and Han Yu. Seeing Dai Mu Bei disappear out of thin air, Han Feng and Han Yu's pupils shrank. But as a controlled-type soul master, Han Yu also took action soon. The second and third soul rings lit up one after another. The tide made the water elements on the competition stage spread around them, like a stable lake. If Dai Mu Bei entered this range, it would be like a stone falling into the water, and ripples would appear. The third soul skill, the vortex swamp, made these water elements become extremely condensed, like a swamp that makes it difficult for people to move. At the same time, because these water elements are constantly rotating, they will produce a strong pulling force, making it even more difficult for people to move. Seeing this, Tang Liu's pupils shrank immediately. Sure enough, these two were very strong. At that moment, he no longer just stood there, but stepped in the ghost shadow to escape the coverage of the wind blade. Although under the control of the cold wind, the wind blade still chased Tang Liu, but it could not attack Tang Liu for the time being. So, Tang Liu, who had no worries, attached the control of the virtual spirit to Dai Mu Bei, and Han Yu's skills could no longer touch Dai Mu Bei, and the difficulty of the swamp and the section of the vortex were no longer effective. Dai Mu Bei, who was still waiting for an opportunity outside the range of Han Yu's skills, rushed in at this time and came to Han Yu in an instant. White Tiger Body Barrier, White Tiger King Kong transformation was activated. After the two amplification skills were released, the effect of the virtual spirit hiding on him was also lifted. However, he no longer needed to hide when he arrived in front of Han Yu. After seeing Han Yu looking at him, he immediately spit out the White Tiger Fierce Light Wave. Han Yu's face changed, and in a hurry, he just let some of the surrounding water elements gather on his body to form a layer of defense. However, the White Tiger Fierce Light Wave, which was amplified by the two soul skills, could not be defended so easily. Han Yu was instantly knocked away by the White Tiger Fierce Light Wave and fell outside the competition stage. This was the result of Dai Mu Bei's holding back, otherwise the White Tiger Fierce Light Wave would not have pushed Han Yu away, but would have directly opened a hole in his body. After dealing with Han Yu, the water element on the competition stage suddenly dispersed, but it still made the surrounding air a little humid. Han Feng's face changed drastically after seeing Han Yu being knocked away. The three soul rings on his body flashed alternately, and he and Dai Mu Bei saw that a fierce gust of wind suddenly blew. At the same time, the gusts of wind turned into countless wind blades that slashed at Dai Mu Bei, with considerable power. However, Dai Mu Bei still had the effect of the void spirit control, so these winds could not touch him at all and were ineffective against him. He came to Han Feng in a few steps, and the tiger palm swung towards him with a gust of evil wind. But Han Feng looked calm, and his third soul ring lit up again, taking him out of Daimyo Bei's attack range again, allowing him to dodge Daimyo Bei's attack again. As soon as he dodged, he ran towards Tang Liu on the other side without hesitation. He could see that his attack was ineffective against Daimyo Bei now because of the existence of Tang Liu, an auxiliary soul master. As long as Tang Liu was dealt with first, then relying on the wind element, Daimyo Bei would definitely not be his opponent. Seeing Han Feng rushing towards him at an extremely fast speed, Tang Liu was also shocked. At the same time, he also felt that he was being blown in the direction of Han Feng by a strong wind. He naturally understood in his heart that this was the effect of the other party controlling the wind. So, he released a void spirit control on himself, and the whole person was no longer affected by the wind. Then came the void spirit concealment, and his figure disappeared directly in front of Han Feng. After releasing the two soul skills in succession, Tang Liu ran towards Han Feng, wanting to meet up with Daimyo Bei. Now that he has the void spirit control, he is not afraid of Han Feng's attack. But the previous battle also made Han Feng understand that Tang Liu's void spirit control should only be attached to one person at a time, so when he saw Tang Liu disappear, he immediately controlled the wind to attack Daimyo Bei behind him. Attack the enemy and save him. Sure enough, after feeling that Han Feng's attack strength was enough to cause damage to Daimyo Bei, Tang Liu attached void spirit control to Daimyo Bei again. Without void spirit control, he was immediately affected by Han Feng's skills again, and the concealment effect was lifted again. At this time, he was only 3 meters away from Han Feng. After seeing him appear, Han Feng did not hesitate to mobilize part of the wind element to attack him. At the same time, the strong wind that enveloped Daimyo Bei was not revoked by him, just to prevent Tang Liu from using void spirit control again. Such a strong use of wind elements made Han Feng look pale and his soul power was greatly consumed. However, as long as Tang Liu can be dealt with, it will be worth it. Tang Liu shook his head lightly and sighed. Sure enough, there are many hidden talents here, so we can't take it lightly. So, when he was about to be attacked by Han Feng, his third soul ring lit up. The third soul skill, the protection of the virtual spirit. Brother Bai, White Tiger Fierce Light Wave. While launching the skill, he also shouted to Daimyo Bei. The next second after shouting, flame patterns appeared in his left eye, and the psychedelic gaze was released. Han Feng, who was very close to him, instantly entered the illusion, and his forward figure was immediately stopped. At this time, Daimyo Bei heard Tang Liu's shout and launched the White Tiger Fierce Light Wave, which also hit Han Feng and pushed him towards Tang Liu. At the same time, Han Feng's attack also fell on Tang Liu, but due to the effect of the protection of the virtual spirit, it could not cause any damage to Tang Liu at all. Seeing that Han Feng and Daimyo Bei's White Tiger Fierce Light Wave were about to hide him, Tang Liu calmly added a void spirit control to himself, and watched Han Feng and White Tiger Fierce Light Wave pass through his body. Taking a step to the side, Tang Liu saw Han Feng being pushed off the stage by the White Tiger Fierce Light Wave. As for the attack against Daimyo Bei, it was lifted the moment Han Feng fell into the illusion, and the remaining power was also something Daimyo Bei could easily defend against, so Tang Liu re-added the void spirit control. After retracting his martial spirit, Tang Liu and Daimyo Bei walked together, and after confirming that the other party was fine, they clapped their hands to celebrate. I said I would take you flying, didn't I? Tang Liu smiled and said. The main attack still depends on me. Daimyo Bei also smiled, and then took a new piece of clothing to cover the upper body exposed by the White Tiger King Kong transformation. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55 Return to College. After the host announced the victory, the two went downstairs to register the points. Xiao Liu, you played a really wonderful game. As soon as they came off the court, Tang San and Xiao Wu came over to congratulate them. The previous sentence was exactly what Xiao Wu said. There are still many shortcomings. For example, when Brother Bai launched an attack on them, I should have rushed up with him. After all, I am a support system and don't have a very high combat power. If there is no protection from the fighting spirit master, I will fall into a very passive situation, Just like the situation when Brother Bai and I were attacked by the cold wind just now. If I had been with Brother Bai all the time, the situation would not be as passive as before, and this game would end faster. Tang Liu smiled and said where he made mistakes in this game. Don't worry, we will fight together in the future, and such a situation will basically not occur at that time, Tang San comforted. The Dean asked us to participate in this fighting spirit competition to hone our actual combat capabilities. As the number of games increases, the possibility of mistakes will become smaller. Let's go and register the points first. Dai Mu Bei smiled slightly. Several people nodded and then left together. After registering the points and receiving the rewards, everyone was happy because they had earned a lot of gold soul coins. Led by Dai Mu Bei, several people walked out of the big soul fighting field and prepared to return to the academy. However, because of Ma Hongjin, a guy with no tact, Dai Mu Bei and Zhu Zhuqing had a quarrel. Of course, it was Dai Mu Bei who was angry unilaterally, and Zhu Zhuqing was still cold and no one could see what she was thinking. Because of the Cold War between Dai Mu Bei and Zhu Zhuqing, the atmosphere on the way back became much more solemn. Tang Liu looked at Dai Mu Bei and Zhu Zhuqing who were not far away in front but ignored each other, and said, they are childhood sweethearts, but now they have to pretend not to know each other. Is it a royal family dispute? Hearing what he said, Tang San and Xiao Wu looked over curiously. Xiao Liu, do you know what happened between them? Xiao Wu asked, with gossip in her eyes. Tang San touched her head helplessly and said, this is someone else's private matter, don't be so curious. That's right, let's not get involved in the conflict between young couples. Tang Liu laughed. Xiao Wu snorted, if you don't want to talk, then don't talk. Then she jumped forward a few steps, pulling away from Tang San and Tang Liu, looking like she didn't want to talk to them. At this time, Tang Liu approached his elder brother, and then whispered to him, brother, you have to keep working hard. Whether my future sister-in-law will be settled depends on your performance. Tang San's face turned red because of what he said, and he eyed him hard, cursing in a low voice, go to hell, what are you thinking about all day long? However, when he said this, Tang San's eyes couldn't help but drift to Xiao Wu in front of him. Hey, Tang San's little action naturally didn't escape Tang Liu's eyes, so he ran away with a sly smile, avoiding Tang San's hand that wanted to continue hitting him. Soon, everyone returned to the academy. In front of the gate of Shrek Academy, two figures were sitting quietly under the moonlight. One was Ning Rongrong, whose emotions had returned to normal. And the other was Oscar, who looked at her with a complicated expression. The first to arrive was Zhu Zhuqing, who walked into the academy without looking back, as if she hadn't seen the two. The second was Dai Mu Bei. After all, they were classmates, and he was not as cold as Zhu Zhuqing, so he looked at Ning Rongrong and said, what are you doing here? Ning Rongrong jumped down from the big rock under her and said, of course I'm waiting for you. Why did you come back so late? Where are the dean and the fat man? Dai Mu Bei replied coldly, they have something to do. Have you figured it out? Stay or leave? Ning Rongrong said without hesitation, of course I'll stay. It's such a fun place, how can I just leave? And what's that expression on your face, a zombie? Did you get humiliated by Zhuqing again? Haha, Oscar said you were a master of the love saint level, but you can't even handle a little girl. Ning Rongrong, whose nature was exposed, simply stopped hiding and laughed at Dai Mu Bei mercilessly. So, the evil-eyed white tiger, who was already angry, attacked Ning Rongrong in an instant after a few words. The simple surge of soul power shook Ning Rongrong away. Fortunately, Oscar caught Ning Rongrong in time, and Tang San blocked Dai Mu Bei's spirit power in time, which saved Ning Rongrong from getting hurt. Mu Bei, we are all classmates, forget it, Tang San advised. That's right, Brother Bai, what is there for a grown man like you to fight with an idiot little girl? Let's go, let's go. Tang Liu was not afraid of the angry evil-eyed white tiger at all, and walked up to push his back and pushed him into the academy. Humph, Ning Rongrong, let's forget it today for Xiao San and Xiao Liu's sake. But remember, this is not your home, don't mess with me again, otherwise, I don't care who you are. Before leaving, Dai Mu Bei did not forget to warn, not caring at all about Ning Rongrong's pitiful appearance who was about to cry. After pushing Dai Mu Bei away, Tang Liu came back, and then pulled Tang San up and prepared to go back to the dormitory. Let's go, brother. While saying this, he also used the Void Spirit Blue Emperor domain to regulate the surging breath in Tang San's body. After all, Dai Mu Bei's outburst was not so easy to handle, not to mention that he was injured. Tang San. At this time, Ning Rongrong suddenly called out to Tang San, who had already turned around and left with Tang Liu and Xiao Wu. Tang San turned around and asked, "What's the matter?" Ning Rongrong held back the tears in her eyes and said fiercely, "Help me kill him with those strange weapons of yours. As long as you help me kill him, you will be a VIP of our 7 Treasures Glazed Tile sect in the future. I will give you money. How about 10,000 gold soul coins? And the 7 Treasures Glazed Tile sect will support you unconditionally in the future." But just as she finished speaking, Tang Liu stood up and laughed. "Come on, Ning Rongrong, do you really think your 7 Treasures Glazed Tile sect is so great? Others care about the support of your 7 Treasures Glazed Tile sect, but we don't. Don't forget that you are not the first-ranked sect among the top 3 sects. Moreover, can an idiot girl like you represent the 7 Treasures Glazed Tile sect with your words? Don't be wishful thinking. This is Shrek Academy, not your 7 Treasures Glazed Tile sect. No one will give in to you in everything. If you really want to integrate into a group, then please lower your ridiculous attitude first." After saying this, without giving Ning Rongrong a chance to refute, he took Tang San and Xiao Wu away. Chapter 56. Tang San reveals a certain attribute. Ning Rongrong's expression was still dull, with an expression of disbelief. After a moment, she looked at Oscar again. "Oscar, are you willing to help me?" "No." Oscar shook his head. "Why, don't you like me?" Ning Rongrong widened her eyes and said in disbelief. Oscar's eyes revealed a hint of loss. "I'm just a food-type soul master. Moreover, I like the approachable, gentle and beautiful Ning Rongrong before, not the arrogant and domineering Miss 7 Treasures Glazed Tile sect now. I can be Ning Rongrong's lover and pursue her regardless of the difference in status. But I can't and will never be a servant of the Miss 7 Treasures Glazed Tile sect." I think it through. The Miss 7 Treasures Glazed Tile sect is not the tree that can make me give up the entire forest. I can't give up everything for a tree that I don't like. There are many people willing to help the Miss 7 Treasures Glazed Tile sect, and I shouldn't be the only one. So, sorry. Moreover, Tang Liu is right. If you really want to find a partner with whom you can confide, then put aside the pride of the eldest lady of the 7 Treasures Glazed Tile sect. Otherwise, friends will only be a luxury for you. After saying that, he took a deep look at Ning Rongrong, and then left. Ning Rongrong was alone under the moonlight, lost in thought. Only tears kept falling. Only panic kept spreading in her heart. It was like the darkness that was gradually approaching because of the disappearance of the moonlight, as if it was going to swallow her up. Another night passed. In the early morning, after Tang Liu and Tang San finished practicing the purple demon pupil together, they went to the cafeteria together to prepare for breakfast. After they finished eating, Daimyo Bei came to the cafeteria, but his expression was still gloomy. Then Xiao Wu appeared, and finally Zhu Ziuqing and Ma Hongjin. Oscar and Ning Rongrong did not appear in the cafeteria. "Fatty, you don't go out at night." After finishing breakfast, Daimyo Bei suddenly spoke. Ma Hongjin nodded. "I almost let out my evil fire yesterday, and I probably won't go out these 2 days. Well, you stay in the dormitory tonight. I'm going to go out and look for the twins from last time," Daimyo Bei said. The fat man's eyes lit up. "Boss Dai, you eat meat, can you leave me some soup?" Daimyo Bei rolled his eyes at him and said unhappily, "This kind of thing requires both your consent to be happy, and a forced melon is not sweet." As he said that, he deliberately glanced at Zhu Ziuqing. It's just that Zhu Ziuqing still didn't react, so he couldn't help but feel a little impatient. Tang Liu clicked his tongue and shook his head, feeling like watching an idle drama. Playing hard to get is good, but it's obvious that people don't want to pay attention to you because of your romantic virtue. Now you still say this, isn't it counterproductive? He deliberately muttered. His voice was not loud, just loud enough for Daimyo Bei to hear. Daimyo Bei felt like he was choked, and the pupils in his eyes turned into one. He glared at Tang Liu and said unhappily, "What do you know, little brat?" Hearing this, Tang Liu suddenly grabbed Tang San, looking aggrieved. "Brother, that uncle over there bullied me." Tang San, Daimyo Bei, seeing their speechless looks, Tang Liu laughed. "What's the matter? Didn't you say I was a little brat? I think you may not have felt the horror of a naughty child. So I'll give you a favor and let you experience it, Uncle Bai." With his young face and height, calling Daimyo Bei uncle does seem to make sense. Xiao Wu immediately laughed without giving him any face. Daimyo Bei stared at Tang Liu, speechless. Tang Liu shook his head and said with a smile, "Uncle, you can't beat me, Tang Xiao Liu, based on your current ugly appearance. As a mortal, You must be aware of being immortal. Not only are you not the strongest, you are not even good at talking." Hearing this, Xiao Wu laughed even more happily and patted Tang Liu on the shoulder. "Xiao Liu, you are amazing." Ma Hongjin also laughed regardless of Daimyo Bei's angry eyes, and even Tang San couldn't help but curled up the corners of his lips. "I'm full." At this time, Zhu Zhuking put down the bowl in her hand, then stood up and left. When Daimyo Bei spoke, his eyes fell on her. Naturally, he also saw the surprised glance she gave him when she turned around, and the faint smile at the corner of her lips. For a moment, Daimyo Bei felt that it was worth it even if he was laughed at. After Zhu Zhuking walked away, Daimyo Bei immediately looked at Tang Liu and said, "Xiao Liu, we will be brothers from now on. Just tell me if you need anything." It has come to this point, how could he not understand that Tang Liu's previous antics were just to help him? "I can't help it, because you two really make me a little anxious," Tang Liu said with disgust. At this time, Daimyo Bei approached Tang Liu with a mysterious look on his face, and whispered, "Xiao Liu, you seem to be very good at emotions. Can you teach me a few tricks when you have time?" Tang Liu looked proud. That's right. After all, he is a person who has been baptized by countless TV dramas. Besides, don't you know that the love advice given by single dogs has a rule bonus? Tang San pushed Daimyo Bei away and said unhappily, "Don't teach my brother bad things." That's right, a Xiao Liu can't be like you. Right. Xiao Wu naturally looked at Tang Liu and said the last two words. Tang Liu looked stern and nodded repeatedly. That's right, although as a single dog for more than 20 years, it would be a lie if Tang Liu didn't envy Daimyo Bei. But, in front of his future sister-in-law, he must behave better. Otherwise, what if because of his own reasons, the future sister-in-law's impression of his brother has also become worse? What should he do? "Hey, Xiao, what's the relationship between us?" "Your brother, isn't he my brother?" Daimyo Bei nudged Tang San with his elbow and said with a slightly flattering look. Yes, Xiao Liu, teach me a few tricks sometime." Ma Hongjin's eyes were also shining. "That's enough. Xiao Liu, you better stay away from this group of people in the future." Tang San's face darkened, and he said to Tang Liu earnestly, then immediately pulled him and Xiao Wu away. "Hey, Xiao, don't be in a hurry to leave, I'm serious," Daimyo Bei said, and hurriedly chased after him. Ma Hongjin followed closely behind him. "Xiao Liu, I'm your brother. Those coquettish bitches outside who want to steal my brother, go to hell." On the way to the playground, Tang San suddenly said to Tang Liu, with a bit of nervousness in his eyes. "Tang Liu," he looked at Tang San in disbelief. "I misjudged you. I didn't expect that you, a guy with thick eyebrows and big eyes, are actually a brother." Control. Chapter 57 Oscar Level 30. However, although he was a little depressed, he still had to comfort his elder brother. "Well, I know, I only have you as my brother. We are blood relatives, and we are twins." Tang Liu turned his head away and said expressionlessly. Tang San seemed to be relieved, and his expression returned to normal. "By the way, brother, aren't you afraid?" Tang Liu suddenly lowered his voice, and then glanced at Xiao Wu who was walking slightly in front of them. "Well, what are you afraid of?" Tang San was a little confused. "Tang Liu, that is, aren't you afraid that Xiao Wu will be jealous?" Tang San was confused. "Jealous? Jealous of what? Jealous of what? Jealous of what?" "Tang Liu, forget it. Anyway, you will slowly open up when we arrive at the starred-out Great Forest tomorrow." "What are you two whispering about?" At this time, Xiao Wu in front suddenly turned around and looked at them curiously. She seemed to hear Tang San said that he wanted to eat something. "Nothing, it's just that my brother said he was very happy," Tang Liu blurted out, but was covered by Tang San immediately. "It's okay, I didn't say anything," Tang San explained quickly, and his face turned red for no reason. Xiao Wu blinked her beautiful big eyes, said "Oh," and then turned around and ignored them. Tang San breathed a sigh of relief, and then glared at Tang Liu unhappily. Tang Liu looked innocent, thinking, "I'm helping you, brother." Soon, everyone came to the playground together at the bell for class. However, when they arrived, they found that there was already someone standing on the playground. Who else could it be but Ning Rongrong? However, her face looked a little bad, as if she hadn't slept all night, and her eyes were red, probably because she cried a lot. They stood on the playground for a quarter of an hour, and Flanders walked over slowly. He first glanced at Ning Rongrong, but didn't say anything. Then his eyes swept over the others one by one, and finally frowned and said, "Where's Oscar? Is he sleeping in again?" Since no one shared a dormitory with Oscar, now except Tang Liu, no one knew what Oscar was doing. But Tang Liu didn't plan to say it, because Oscar would be here soon anyway. "We can't do this class today without him. Mu Bei, go call him over now," Flanders said. "Yes," Mu Bei responded, and just when he was about to leave, he saw Oscar running over in a hurry. "Oscar, do you want to go running again?" Flanders looked at Oscar's excited face and felt very angry. Oscar shook his head quickly and said, "No, Dean, please listen to my explanation. I broke through. I reached level 30. "What?" Flanders was surprised. Except for Tang Liu, everyone else also cast surprised eyes at Oscar. Okay, Oscar, you didn't let me down. You are the third student to reach level 30 among all the students now. I congratulate you on behalf of the Academy. Congratulations. Although you reached level 30 much later than me, as a food-type soul master, you are already the most outstanding genius I have ever seen. Could it be that a broken heart can help a soul master break through?" Mu Bei walked over, patted his shoulder, and smiled. Oscar glared at Mu Bei awkwardly, then looked at Ning Rongrong with red eyes, and said with a wry smile, "I haven't been in love yet, how can I be heartbroken? Don't make fun of me." Tang San, Xiao Wu, Tang Liu and Ma Hongjin also came forward to congratulate. Ning Rongrong stood there without moving. And Zhu Ziuqing also lowered her head, and no one knew what she was thinking. "Okay, today's class starts now," Flanders spoke again at this time. "Today's class is very simple, that is, except for Oscar. Each of you must eat at least one of the 2 sausages made by Oscar's soul power." "What?" Xiao Wu was the first to say. "Dean, what kind of class is this?" "Hey, although the soul spell of the sausage uncle is a little vulgar, the auxiliary effect is really good, you will know after eating it. Moreover, this is really just a grilled sausage." Tang Liu spoke first, and then said to Oscar, "Uncle, I will give you 1 recovery sausage and 1 detoxification sausage. Do you want to charge me? It's okay to charge me, but I'm really not an uncle. Didn't you see that I shaved my beard?" Oscar said helplessly, but he still made 2 sausages for Tang Liu. "Oh, okay uncle." Tang Liu took it and said, "Don't call me uncle." "Okay uncle, no problem uncle." Oscar, seeing Tang Liu eating the sausage and walking back to the team, Flanders continued, "Yes, Oscar's soul skills are very good for you. Let you eat it is also to allow you to conduct adaptive training. I ask you, is life more important or face more important? When you can only choose one of the 2, which one do you want to choose? Moreover, this is also to cultivate the tacit understanding between you. If you can't cooperate well with him, it will be a waste of him as a good auxiliary partner. And if you can't even do this, how can you survive in the Soul Master world in the future? In order to survive, you must do whatever it takes. Don't say eating a sausage, when your life is in danger. Even mice, cockroaches, and earthworms must be eaten." Flanders' last words undoubtedly caused tons of real damage to the 3 girls present. "This lesson is what you must do, otherwise you don't deserve to stay in our Shrek Academy. You must always remember that our Shrek Academy cultivates monsters, not ordinary people. Who of you, except Tang Liu, will come first?" Flanders said firmly, not caring whether the girls were about to vomit or not. Oscar also smiled obscenely at this time, then chanted the soul spell and made sausages and bacon. "I'll do it." Just when everyone was hesitating, Ning Rongrong came out first, took the 2 sausages from Oscar's hand, and then put them in her mouth and bit them hard. The vicious look really scared Oscar, and he felt a chill somewhere. Tang Liu on the side showed a meaningful smile. "Your sausage feels good when you bite it off." Ning Rongrong smiled after eating the sausage. Oscar felt something tight again, and then continued to make sausages without stopping. After Mu Bei and Ma Hongjin, and then Tang San came out. "Brother, don't worry about eating, if it doesn't taste good, it's my fault," Tang Liu said with a sly smile. Tang San looked at him helplessly, and then ate Oscar's sausage with a trembling heart. After Tang San, it was Xiao Wu, and finally Zhu Ziuqing. Chapter 58 Heading to the Star Forest. However, Zhu Ziuqing was the most hesitant among the few people. "Zhu Ziuqing, if you want to defeat Mu Bei one day and step on him, don't hesitate now," Flanders suddenly spoke at this time. Zhu Ziuqing was stunned, while Mu Bei smiled bitterly. Flanders looked at Zhu Ziuqing meaningfully and nodded to her. Zhu Ziuqing's eyes instantly became firm. She no longer hesitated and ate the sausage made by Oscar in a few bites. Daimube was a little absent-minded and smiled bitterly. Do you want to defeat me so much? Zhu Zhuking glared at him fiercely while chewing the sausage, and didn't have much to say. Flanders nodded with satisfaction and said, all of you have passed, and you must remember that when you are together in the future, Oscar will be your logistical supply. Forget those meaningless soul spells, save your life, make yourself stronger, and exert all your strength, or even exceed your level. This is the most important thing. Now, each of you go back and prepare. I will give you a day to rest and adjust. Tomorrow morning, everyone will set off. Teacher Zhao Wuji will lead you to the Xingdao Great Forest to help Oscar obtain his third spirit ring. This is not just Oscar's business, but also the experience of all of you. Before encountering a 1,000-year spirit beast, Teacher Zhao will not easily take action. Everything depends on you. Okay, now dismissed. After returning to the dormitory, Tang San and Tang Liu both began to practice. Tang San may have been stimulated by Oscar's entry into level 30, and he also wanted to get his third spirit ring as soon as possible. As for Tang Liu, it was completely a sudden interest. After all, now his spirit power has begun to compress for the third time, and the speed of practice is not very fast, so there is no rush. What's more, he is now a spirit master. However, every time he practices, Xiao Funi will quietly crawl out from his clothes, crawl on his knees, and start practicing with his eyes closed. When Xiao Funi practices, Tang Liu's body will emit some blue-black light spots from time to time, and slowly merge into its body with Xiao Funi's breathing. That's why Xiao Funi said that following Tang Liu, it will surely break through the bottleneck of 200,000 years soon. Since Tang Liu mentioned the starred-out Great Forest when he told Tang San the story before, Tang San didn't ask again like in the original book. Another day passed. After breakfast, when the students came to the playground, they found that Zhao Wuji was already standing there waiting for them. However, when they saw Zhao Wuji, the students wanted to laugh, but they didn't dare to laugh. Of course, Tang Liu, who knew the truth, laughed out loud without hesitation, not giving Zhao Wuji face at all. Zhao Wuji glared at Tang Liu with a panda face, and said unhappily, "What are you laughing at? What's so funny? I just fell down a little harder, didn't I?" He was embarrassed to tell the fact that he was beaten by Tang Hao, and he didn't dare to say it. Yes, you fell down. I'm not laughing at you, I just want to laugh a little." Tang Liu ignored the strange look of the others and said to himself. Finally, Tang San couldn't stand it anymore and touched him, which made him stop laughing. Zhao Wuji looked at Tang Liu depressedly, and then said, "Okay, let's go. Mu Bei, you lead the team." Dai Mu Bei nodded and said seriously, "The starred-out Great Forest is not a place for fun. There are many soul beasts in it. And they are very aggressive. They don't like us humans. We must be careful to deal with them and can't be careless. Tang San, you go in the front. Oscar, Tang Liu, Ning Rongrong, the three of you follow behind Tang San. Fatty, Xiao Wu, the two of you on the left and right sides, and Zhu Zhuking and I are at the end of the team. After entering the forest, we must maintain this formation and stay alert at all times. That's it, let's go." After Daimyo Bei made the arrangements, he led everyone to run out of the academy, and Zhao Wuji stood aside and watched coldly, without any intention of intervening. Along the way, thanks to Oscar's sausage supply, everyone was able to maintain their energy even though they were running fast. Finally, everyone arrived at a small town, and Zhao Wuji ordered to stop moving forward, preparing to rest here for a night before continuing to the Xingdao Great Forest. After finding a hotel to check in, several people prepared to have lunch. Zhao Wuji returned to the room alone and did not intend to participate. This is also one of the rules of Shrek Academy. The teacher will not accept any benefits from the students. Coming to this place again, Tang Liu obviously sighed. Because when he came to get the second soul ring, he had not been able to find a suitable soul ring, and he and Tang Hao had lived here intermittently for a short time, so he missed it. The All-Continent Advanced Soul Master Academy Soul Fighting Competition. You should start quickly. The first floor of the hotel is a restaurant. Everyone found an empty table. After sitting down, Mo Hongjin called the waiter to order food. Although 8 people sat at a table, the atmosphere was not harmonious. It is probably because everyone is not so familiar with it. This is normal. At most, they have only known each other for about 4 days. At this time, Tang Liu, who had been paying attention to the entrance of the hotel, discovered the group of people from Tang Hao College who came in. After seeing them, Mo Hongjian's eyes fell on the only female student, and then he and Dai Mubei began to discuss without concealing anything. Tang Liu couldn't help laughing. Then, just like the original novel, the people from Tang Hao College came to cause trouble, but were shown off by Tang San and Dai Mubei respectively. Is it mediocre to not dare to cause trouble? Tang Liu suddenly felt a little itchy in his heart. It was a kind of slight throbbing in human nature after living in a strict rule system, but suddenly one day it was basically completely free from that restraint, and also had the power that he had only dared to think about before. I don't know what kind of mentality it was. Maybe it was because he thought it was a bit fun, or maybe he just felt a little curious, or it might be intentional, or it was just a simple slip of the hand, and the brain suddenly cramped. Anyway, Tang Liu made a move. Green flame patterns appeared around his left eye. The psychedelic gaze enveloped everyone in Tang Hao Academy at the same time. The Soul Emperor level mental power crushed everyone in Tang Hao Academy, except for the teacher who led the team and the female student. Interlusion. Chapter 59. Tang Liu has someone to protect him. A hint of ill-intentioned smile suddenly appeared on Tang Liu's lips. Actually, you are all pigs, a word floated out slowly from his mouth. The next moment, the 6 people who were hit fell to the ground with their limbs, and they made a humming sound. Just when everyone in the restaurant was surprised and confused, the students of Tang Hao Academy suddenly screamed and bumped around, just like frightened pigs. Tang Liu laughed, and then lifted the illusion that those people were under. Once the illusion was lifted, those people stopped screaming and bumping around, and sat on the ground with dull eyes, doubting their lives. I'm not a pig. Yes, I'm a human. How can I be a pig? Similar words kept coming out of their mouths, making people around them look at them as if they were crazy. Watching the restaurant owner and his people clean up the tables and chairs that were knocked over by those Tang Hao Academy students, Tang Liu suddenly felt a little sorry in his heart. Ordinary people should not be involved. After all, he is not a spoiled child, but an orphan who has suffered a lot. Although the illusion was removed, it was not easy for the students to recover for a while, and their eyes were still a little dazed. After the teacher in charge of Tang Hao Academy arranged for his students to be sent back to the room, he walked straight towards the Shrek people. My students suddenly became like that just now. Was it you who did it? Yizhikiu said with a gloomy face. Are you blind? We didn't touch your students at all. What does it have to do with us if they go crazy? Among the crowd, Dai Mubei, the oldest, naturally stood up and said. Moreover, he was telling the truth. They were about to fight with Tang Hao Academy, but they had to stop because of Tang Liu's intervention. My students became like that just now because someone used an illusion-type soul skill. And among all the people present, you are the only soul masters, Yizhikiu said in a deep voice, with a chill in his eyes. Dai Mubei was about to refute him, but was interrupted by Tang Liu who suddenly spoke. Brother Bai, don't bother with him. Tang Liu stood up and looked at Yizhikiu. Although he had to look up at Yizhikiu because of his height, the aura he exuded was not inferior at all. Xiao Liu, Tang San looked at him with some doubt. Tang Liu gave him a reassuring look, then looked at Yizhikiu again and said in a deep voice, you are right, your students went crazy because they were hit by illusion-type soul skills. And that illusion-type soul skill was set by me. Hearing this, the Shrek 7 devils were all surprised. Xiao Liu, you said, was it you who made them become like that just now? Xiao Wu said in surprise. Tang Liu nodded, then turned to look at the innkeeper who was standing aside and looking at them nervously, and said, sorry, boss, I have caused you losses. I will give you a few storage soul guides as compensation later. The innkeeper obviously didn't expect that he would be mentioned by Tang Liu, and Tang Liu also said that he would give him such a large amount of compensation. For a moment, he was stunned. Let's go. If you want to ask for an explanation, go out and talk. Don't disturb others' business here, Tang Liu said to Yizhikiu indifferently, and then looked at the 7 devils. Everyone, this is my fault. I can handle it myself. You don't need to interfere. He looked at Yizhikiu again, raised his chin, and then took the lead to walk out. But before he took 2 steps, he was stopped by a hand. Tang Liu looked at Tang San who was holding him. At this time, Tang San frowned, and his expression was actually a little angry. Look at what you are talking about. I am your brother, your business is my business, why don't you let me intervene? Moreover, even if it is your fault, as your brother, We'll help you bear it first. Otherwise, if something happens to you, how can I explain to my father? Do you think you don't respect me as your brother?" As he spoke, he had come to stand beside Tang Liu, and his eyes had fallen on Yu Zhiqiu. "That's right, Xia Liu, you're talking as if we're outsiders. I'm telling you, I'm indispensable in this matter, you're not allowed to leave me behind. Besides, isn't it just a small matter? Sister Xia will take care of it for you." Xia also came over and stood beside Tang San, with a look of indignation on her face. "That's right, Xia Liu, you're already my brother. If there's anything, the brothers will certainly help you take care of it. Remember, we're here to protect you. If anyone dares to bully you, we'll beat him up." Then, Daimyo also came over, stood in front of the others, and looked at Yu Zhiqiu warily. "Yes, Xia Liu, we're here to protect you." Mo Hongjin also came over with a smile. "Yes, with my sausage supply, it won't be a problem to fight him for 3 days and 3 nights. Oscar came behind Tang San. Although Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zhiqing didn't speak, they also came to Tang Liu and stood still, confronting Yu Zhiqiu. Looking at the Shrek 7 devils around him, who were either firm, concerned, or silent, but without exception, they all had strong confidence and cohesion, Tang Liu suddenly laughed. "Okay, then let's beat up this stupid old bastard who's so arrogant." Tang Liu smiled, looking at Yu Zhiqiu's ugly face, and spoke in a very calm manner. His slow speech and very good-looking face made people feel elegant for a moment. "Well, you are very good." Yu Zhiqiu looked as if his parents had died. "I want to see what you can do." After saying that, he snorted coldly and turned to walk out of the hotel. "Let's go, brothers and sisters, let's kill this bastard," Daimyo shouted first, and then let everyone out. Ma Hongjin and Oscar echoed, which made Yu Zhiqiu in front very angry. "Come on, let me teach you a lesson on behalf of your teacher." As soon as he got outside, Yu Zhiqiu couldn't wait to say, "Everyone, open your martial spirit," Daimyo shouted, and then released his martial spirit. "White tiger, possess," as he shouted, 2 yellow and 1 purple spirit rings rose up, and his whole body expanded again. Then, Tang San, Xiao Wu, Mo Hongjin and Zhu Zhiqing also released their martial spirits. Except for Daimyo, everyone else had 2 yellow spirit rings, which made Yu Zhiqiu's pupils shrink. He could naturally tell the age of the 7 devils, so he was surprised now. But soon, his heart was filled with disbelief. Impossible. Chapter 60, The Spirit of the Void Ignores Defense. He exclaimed, his face horrified. Seeing his look, the 7 devils couldn't help but sneer. "Nothing is impossible." Tang Liu raised his left hand, and 3 yellow, purple and black soul rings surrounded his body. "The reason why you think it's impossible is that your vision is too narrow." As soon as the voice fell, the second soul ring on his body lit up. Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhiqing disappeared quietly. Yu Zhiqiu's breathing was heavy, his eyes were dull, and all he could see was the black soul ring on Tang Liu's body. 10,000 years, it was actually a 10,000-year soul ring. Why can a mere soul master have a 10,000-year soul ring? Moreover, this soul master is only about 10 years old. At this moment, Yu Zhiqiu was completely stunned by Tang Liu's soul ring ratio, and he was so dull that he even forgot to release his martial soul. But at this moment, a sense of danger suddenly arose in his heart. After all, he was a soul king, so he released his martial soul the moment this warning sign was born. A huge tortoise shell suddenly appeared on his back, and then, a total of 5 soul rings, 1 white, 2 yellow, and 2 purple, slowly rose from under his feet. At this time, Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhiqing appeared almost at the same time. Xiao Wu stepped on the tortoise shell on Yu Zhiqiu's back, while Zhu Zhiqing directly launched the netherworld claws in front. Sparks continued to bloom on Yu Zhiqiu's chest, but they could not hurt him at all. Seeing that the attack was blocked, Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhiqing quickly retreated and stood aside quietly waiting for an opportunity. After receiving the attack, Yu Zhiqiu also came back to his senses. Although he was still horrified when looking at Tang Liu, it was much better than the previous dull and lifeless situation. But the 7 devils obviously did not intend to give him a chance to breathe, and the attacks came one after another. First, Tang San used entanglement on Yu Zhiqiu to restrict his movements. In order to prevent Tang San's blue-silver grass from being frozen by Yu Zhiqiu's black turtle martial spirit, Tang Liu also added the void spirit control to Tang San. Daimyo and Ma Hongjin attacked together with Tang San. White Tiger Fierce Light Wave and Phoenix Fire Line sprayed towards Yizhikyu's head at the same time. At this time, Oscar also made a batch of recovery sausages and handed them to the people who were currently attacking. Yizhikyu was restricted in his movements but did not panic. He actually put his head into the turtle shell behind him and dodged the White Tiger Fierce Light Wave and Phoenix Fire Line. "How, coward," Tang Liu sneered, and then attached the Void Spirit Control to Zhu Zhuking. "Zhuking, now you try to attack him again." Zhu Zhuking just glanced at the vines on her arm and launched the Netherworld Stab. In the blink of an eye, she came to Yizhikyu, and then the second soul skill, Netherworld 100 Claws. Surprisingly, this time, Yizhikyu's extremely hard turtle shell was like a decoration, and it could not stop Zhu Zhuking's attack at all, because Zhu Zhuking's Netherworld 100 Claws directly passed through his turtle shell and acted on his body. Caught off guard, Yizhikyu endured Zhu Zhuking's attack and screamed. Ma Hongjin's eyes lit up, and he quickly said to Tang Liu, "Xiao Liu, give me one too." Tang Liu smiled slightly. "Don't worry, everyone has a share." As soon as he finished speaking, his first soul ring flashed again. But this time the Void Spirit Control fell on Ma Hongjin. Ma Hongjin laughed evilly, and then released his first soul skill Phoenix Fire. The purple-red flame spewed out, and in the blink of an eye it came to Yizhikyu, and then it passed through his tortoise shell and burned directly on his body. Yizhikyu's screams just now hadn't stopped, and another wave came. "Xiao Liu, let me try too." Daimyo Bei also felt a little jealous and said quickly. However, he did not succeed this time, because Zhao Wuji suddenly jumped down from the building, stood in front of them and said, "Okay, we have had enough fun, now go back to bed." "Teacher Zhao, I haven't even started yet, how can you say you have had enough fun?" Daimyo Bei said somewhat dissatisfiedly. Zhao Wuji glared at him, "Are you the teacher or am I the teacher? Go back to bed immediately." "Tang Liu, you stay." Upon hearing this, Zhu Zhuking turned around and walked to the side of the group. Except for Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zhuking, the others looked at each other and shrugged at the same time. "Then let's go. Go back to sleep. Let's go. Go to sleep." "Hey, we haven't finished our meal yet. We can't waste food." "Xiao Liu, come back quickly when you're done with the things." "Got it, you guys go up first. Don't worry about me. Everyone disperse." After saying goodbye, Tang Liu walked to Zhao Wuji and said, "Teacher Zhao, what do you want to talk to me about?" Zhao Wuji looked at him helplessly and said, "You little guy, you feel good about beating people now, but your spirit ring is also exposed. What should you do? Aren't you afraid that this turtle will tell the spirit hall?" Hearing this, Tang Liu couldn't help but be stunned. In a flash, he figured out a lot of things, so he lowered his voice. "Didn't my father tell you to be careful of others seeing my spirit ring?" Zhao Wuji nodded helplessly. "Now your spirit ring has been seen by so many people. With so many people and eyes, it is hard to guarantee that it will not be heard by the spirit hall. If you don't have a solution, I can only let you go to him as your father requested." "Hey, I didn't expect the old man to still care about me." After hearing this, Tang Liu's first reaction was this, and then he said, "Teacher Zhao, don't worry, I have a solution." During this period, has anyone left the hotel? No, I have been paying attention. The people in the hotel are basically watching you fight. Not only did no one leave, but many even came down and are still staying in the restaurant, Zhao Wuji replied. "Then are there any soul masters in here? Is anyone watching through the window?" "No, those from Kanghu Academy are in their rooms, and no one is watching through the window." "Then things are simple. You help me beat this bastard half to death first. I will deal with those ordinary people first, and then deal with him." After Tang Liu finished speaking, he ran towards the restaurant. At this time, Yizhikyuu finally recovered from the pain and emerged from the tortoise shell with a distorted look. "You bunch of bastards, I will teach you a lesson," he roared. Zhao Wuji curled his lips in disdain and walked towards Yizhikyuu. "Just you, an old bastard? I'll give you a chance. I don't need any martial spirit. As long as you can hold out under my hands for an incense stick of time, I'll let this matter go." Then Yizhikyuu's screams were heard again outside the inn. Chapter 61 Modifying Memory. At the same time, Tang Liu also came to the restaurant, found the innkeeper, and then took out 3 storage magic tools that he had nothing to do and gave them to him. "Boss, this is my compensation for your loss," he deliberately said it loudly, attracting the attention of everyone in the restaurant. "This, how can I be so embarrassed, Master Soul Master?" The boss was flattered. "What's there to be embarrassed about? This is what you deserve." As soon as the voice fell, green flame patterns appeared around Tang Liu's left eye. The next moment, he turned around and glanced at everyone in the restaurant, and then all these ordinary people fell into the illusion. After confirming that there were no fish that slipped through the net, Tang Liu used the illusion to change the soul rings on their bodies and their memories into 2 yellow and 1 purple colors. This is also another function of the psychedelic gaze that he had figured out. After getting it done, he lifted the illusion and took back the demon eye. At this time, the innkeeper also said with gratitude, thank you, Master Soul Master." Feeling the envious eyes of the people around him, Tang Liu also smiled. "It's okay, this is what you deserve." Then he stopped talking to them and walked outside. Outside, Zhao Wuji was stepping on Yi's Hikyu with a bored look on his face. Seeing this, Tang Liu also ran over quickly, and then looked at Yi's Hikyu, who was already unconscious at Zhao Wuji's feet. Tisk, Teacher Zhao, you are really cruel," Tang Liu laughed. "It's the first time I found that it feels so good to beat someone without using a martial soul," Zhao Wuji said. Knowing the reason, Tang Liu laughed out loud, and then modified Yi's Hikyu's memory in the same way, and then woke him up from his coma. "Okay, Teacher Zhao, since you like to beat people so much, why not beat him again?" After saying that, Tang Liu smiled and ran away. "HMPH, I don't have the time to spare. Go back to sleep," Zhao Wuji snorted and kicked Yi's Hikyu casually, so Yi's Hikyu flew out screaming. Tang Liu still lived in the same room with Tang San. When he came back, Tang San didn't ask much. He just cared about him for a few words and urged him to go to bed quickly. There was no conversation all night. When the sun slowly rose from the east, Tang San and Tang Liu had already finished practicing the purple demon eye and were eating breakfast downstairs. Soon, everyone from Shrek Academy came down one after another. When they saw each other, they all smiled and greeted each other. Of course, Ning Rongrong was still silent. When she saw them, she just nodded, which was considered a greeting. Zhu's Huking still looked cold, but she would also nod to them gently after seeing them. Yesterday's battle brought the 8 people closer together. After Zhao Wuji came down, the few of them set out on the journey to the Starred Out Great Forest again, and arrived in front of the Starred Out Great Forest at about noon. Everything fresh in the forest made Tang San and Tang Liu's brains clear at the same time, and they felt that the soul power in their bodies was much more active. Xingdao Great Forest, the largest gathering place of soul beasts on the Douluo continent, has about 2/3 of its area in the Xingluo Empire, and the remaining 1/3 in the Xiandao Empire. It is the place where the boundary between the two countries is the least clear. Although most of the Xingdao Great Forest is in the Xingluo Empire, the Xiandao Empire has never admitted this. When they arrived at the Xingdao Great Forest, Zhao Wuji asked them to stop, asked Oscar to prepare a large number of sausages for everyone in advance, and told everyone not to exceed the 20-meter range around him before giving the order to set off again. Coming to the Xingdao Great Forest again, Tang Liu felt inexplicably happy. Little Funi in his arms also poked his head out, looking at the familiar environment around him, revealing a bit of nostalgia in his eyes. Xiao Wu also showed the same performance as Tang Liu. After entering the Xingdao Great Forest, Xiao Wu felt like she was back home, jumping, indescribably happy. On the way forward, they encountered a group of weasels. Tang San naturally started the protagonist's speech mode, which made Tang Liu roll his eyes. Although he agreed with Tang San's statement in his heart, he just felt an indescribable sense of disobedience. After advancing about 300 meters, Zhao Wuji asked everyone to rest first before going on the road. Daimyo used the tiger's paw to clear an area for everyone to rest, then ate a few recovery sausages and sat down to rest. Xiao Wu, who was originally very happy, became listless at this moment, leaning on Tang San's shoulder, silent. About half an hour later, Tang San and Zhao Wuji reacted at the same time and looked in one direction. Seeing their actions, Tang Liu said secretly in his heart, "Here it comes." Then he stood up and prepared to assist everyone in taking down the phoenix-tailed coxcomb snake. "Everyone get up, something is approaching." As Zhao Wuji's shout sounded, Tang San and Daimyo tacitly took the lead in blocking the 3 assistants in the team. Xiao Wu, Zhu's Huking and Ma Hongjin guarded beside them. "Zhu's Huking, go and see what's going on," Zhao Wuji ordered in a deep voice. Zhu's Huking didn't say anything. Her martial spirit was released instantly. She quickly climbed up a big tree next to her, and looked in the direction of the sound. Soon, her cold voice came over, "It seems to be a flying snake. But it doesn't fly high, It can only fly about 3 meters above the ground. There is a fleshy crown on its head, which looks bigger than its head and is bright red like blood. The tail is quite special, fan-shaped. Zhao Wuji's eyes lit up, and he said, "It's a phoenix-tail coxcomb snake. This kind of soul beast is quite rare. Its fleshy crown stores a lot of nutrients and has many wonderful effects. Oscar, you are lucky, but I don't know how old this phoenix-tail coxcomb snake is. Zhu's Huking, keep an eye on the direction it is moving, and report to me immediately if there is any change." "Yes, it is coming towards us, very fast. However, it seems that its body is a little out of balance," Zhu's Huking said. "How long is this phoenix-tail coxcomb snake, and what color are its wings?" Tang San spoke at this time. "The wings are light red, and the length is about 6 to 8 meters, Zhu's Huking replied. After a little calculation, Tang San came to a positive conclusion and said, "This is a 1,000-year-old phoenix-tailed coxcomb snake. The light red wings are a sign of its 1,000-year evolution. Judging from its length, 6 to 8 meters, it should have cultivated for 1,300 to 1,800 years. Oscar, it's just right for you." Then he gave everyone some knowledge about phoenix-tailed coxcomb snakes. And at the same time speculated on Oscar's third soul skill. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62 Phoenix-tailed coxcomb snake. Xiao San, you are simply the encyclopedia of the spirit world. Awesome, really awesome. Oscar's eyes were bright, with an admiring look. Except for Tang Liu and Xiao Wu, the eyes of the others looking at Tang San changed more or less. After all, Tang San's knowledge reserve was extremely amazing in their eyes. Tang San said a little embarrassedly, "This is all thanks to my teacher. Since you know this kind of soul beast, then, how can this kind of soul beast be best captured?" After knowing Tang San's ability, Zhao Wuji couldn't help asking. Tang San didn't hesitate at all, and immediately expressed his thoughts. At the same time, he arranged the tactics in a few words. With Zhu's Huking's warning, the phoenix-tail coxcomb snake arrived. Zhu's Huking was the first to discover it and the first to rush out. Even though it was a 1,000-year soul beast, she was not afraid at all, and directly greeted the phoenix-tail coxcomb snake with another stab. The phoenix-tailed coxcomb snake was obviously also startled by Zhu's Huking's sudden appearance. It twisted its body and dodged Zhu's Huking, who was rushing towards its flesh crown, allowing her netherworld thrust to hit itself, and then it blew a puff of colorful mist at her. "Be careful." Seeing this, Daimyo Bei's heart tightened, and he immediately used his strongest spirit skill, White Tiger King Kong transformation, and rushed towards the phoenix-tailed coxcomb snake. The 7 treasures are famous. The second is speed. At the same time, Ning Rongrong's assistance also fell on Daimyo Bei, which instantly increased his speed by several levels. "Don't worry, the colorful mist it sprays is just for scaring people, it's not poisonous," Tang San shouted and began to use spirit skills to restrain the phoenix-tailed coxcomb snake. The fat man on the other side also released his martial spirit. When the breath of the phoenix came out, the phoenix-tailed coxcomb snake was obviously more flustered. Tang Liu next to him was not idle either. Although he did not release his spirit skills, he released his innate domain, the Void Spirit Blue Emperor domain. A circle of blue light spread out from the bottom of his feet, and where the blue light passed, blue silver grass began to grow wildly. The one who felt it most directly was Tang San, who was of the same lineage as Tang Liu's martial spirit. In his perception, his blue silver grass seemed to suddenly become excited, as if he had seen a relative, and suddenly became extremely tough. The most direct manifestation was that the phoenix-tailed coxcomb snake, which was still able to shuttle through his blue-silver grass, was instantly unable to move. At this time, Zhao Wuji's 3rd, 4th, and 5th spirit rings lit up at the same time. The increased gravity made the phoenix-tailed coxcomb snake struggling in the blue-silver grass pause. Positioning and tracking allowed Zhao Wuji to approach it instantly, and the final gravity squeeze directly made the phoenix-tailed coxcomb snake lose its ability to move. As expected of a soul saint, he solved the 1,000-year soul beast almost at the first sight. Zhao Wuji held the head of the phoenix-tailed cockatiel with his bare paw, and then said to Oscar, "Oscar, come here. Stab it from its flesh crown and you can directly destroy its brain." After killing it, quickly absorbed the soul ring to avoid more trouble. Oscar excitedly took the short knife handed by Zhao Wuji and walked towards the phoenix-tailed cockatiel, his hand holding the knife trembling slightly. Yes, after all, after absorbing the soul ring, he is a soul master. How can he not be excited? Tang Liu glanced at Xia Wu, who looked a little pale and reluctant not far away, and shook his head gently. He couldn't decide or change others, he could only make himself feel as at ease as possible. So he thought of borrowing the ring. Just when Oscar was about to raise his hand and stab to kill the phoenix-tailed cockatiel, a hoarse voice suddenly came from the direction where the phoenix-tailed cockatiel appeared. Stop. Then, two figures also jumped out from that direction and appeared in front of everyone. The two people, one old and one young, were both women. The old one looked about 60 or 70 years old, and the girl looked about 16 or 17 years old. It was the snake lady Zhao Xiangxiang and her granddaughter Meng Yiren. What's the matter? Zhao Wuji glanced at Zhao Xiangxiang. After all, the 7 soul rings with the best ratio on her body were not for show. Compared with him, the 6 soul rings on Zhao Xiangxiang looked much thinner, not to mention Meng Yiren, who only had 200-year soul rings. Hello, respected soul saint, you can't give this phoenix-tailed coxcomb snake to this child, Zhao Xiangxiang said in a gentle tone. After all, if they fought, she would definitely lose miserably. Zhao Wuji pinched the phoenix-tailed coxcomb snake with one hand, winked at Oscar, turned to look at Zhao Xiangxiang and said, why? Because we discovered and hunted this snake first, otherwise, how could we track it here? Zhao Xiangxiang said. How do you prove it? Oscar couldn't help but speak. After all, it would be uncomfortable for anyone to have the soul ring that was about to be snatched away. Zhao Xiangxiang smiled and said, young man, don't worry. Look at the belly of this phoenix-tailed coxcomb snake. There are 2 scars. They were caused by me hitting it with my crutch. There are also scars under its wings. I was careless and let it run away. This snake is very suitable for my granddaughter. She needs this spirit ring very much. You can see that she inherited my weapon spirit snake staff. High-level snake spirit beasts are the most suitable for her. Hearing this, Zhao Wuji lowered his head and checked the places on the phoenix-tailed coxcomb snake in his hand that Zhao Xiangxiang mentioned. He did see the wounds. However, if he wanted him to let go just because of this, it would be too naive. He looked at Zhao Xiangxiang and sneered, Senior, may I ask your name? Zhao Xiangxiang smiled slightly. My name is Zhao Xiangxiang. Friends in the Soul Master world think highly of me and gave me the title of Snake Lady. My husband's name is Meng Shu, also known as Lord Dragon. We came to the Xingdao Great Forest to find a suitable 3rd soul ring for our granddaughter. I think the young man next to you doesn't seem to be able to absorb a 1,000-year soul ring. Although the soul ring of the phoenix-tailed coxcomb snake is milder, it is not something he can absorb. You are the Snake Lady Senior among the peerless dragons and snakes. Zhao Wuji stopped Oscar, who wanted to argue, and said. Zhao Wuji's expression changed slightly, and he said, I am Zhao Wuji. Zhao Xiangxiang also revealed a trace of strangeness in his expression, and said, no wonder. I was wondering how I could meet such a powerful soul saint casually. It turns out to be the acolyte of the Soul Master world. Zhao Wuji smiled and said, I don't deserve it. I have been living a secluded life these years, teaching some students in an academy. This time I brought these children to the Xingdao Great Forest. One is to obtain a soul ring for one of them, and the other is to show them the world. Unexpectedly, I met a senior here. Chapter 63, Soul-Stealing Beast. Zhao Xiangxiang didn't want to argue with him anymore, so she got to the point and said, I'm older than you, so I'm a little more confident. Brother Zhao, this 1,000-year-old phoenix-tailed cockroach snake is very important to my granddaughter. She has just reached level 30 and needs a suitable spirit ring. We were the first to find this phoenix-tailed cockroach snake and injured it, but it escaped accidentally. Can you please give us this spirit beast back? I will definitely remember this favor and repay it one day. Sister Zhao, I'm afraid this matter is not easy to handle, Zhao Wuji said with an embarrassed look. It's not that easy to let him let go. You can see that the student next to me has also reached a bottleneck of level 30, and the soul ring of this phoenix-tailed cockroach snake is gentle, which is also of great help to him. What? You said he has also reached a bottleneck of level 30, Zhao Xiangxiang said in surprise, and Oscar's eyes became stunned. She could see that Oscar was only 13 or 14 years old, and he had already reached a bottleneck of level 30 at such a young age. Doesn't it mean that his talent was better than that of her granddaughter? Okay, stop praising each other here, I can't stand it anymore. Just when Zhao Xiangxiang wanted to continue to say something, Tang Liu suddenly came out and said impatiently. He ignored Zhao Xiangxiang's ugly expression and didn't give the others a chance to speak. He continued, since none of us want to give up this phoenix-tailed coxcomb snake, let your granddaughter compete with one of our people. Whoever wins will get this phoenix-tailed coxcomb snake. Hearing this, everyone present was stunned. However, let's make it clear first. The guy whose spirit ring we want to absorb is a food-type spirit master and has no combat power. So we will send a level 29 to fight your granddaughter. A level 29 fighting your granddaughter at level 30, you won't suffer any loss, right? Tang Liu said to Zhao Xiangxiang. However, Zhao Xiangxiang did not look at him for the time being, but once again cast her surprised eyes on Oscar, and said, young man, are you really a food-type spirit master? A food-type spirit master at the age of 14 who is already level 30, such talent made her feel a little moved. After seeing Oscar nod, this idea in her heart became stronger. Then, she remembered what Tang Liu said before, you said, among you guys, there is a level 29? Is it him? Zhao Xiangxiang subconsciously looked at the oldest Amube. No, he's level 37. The level 29 ones are these two, Tang Liu said expressionlessly, and then pointed at Tang San and Xiao Wu. At this time, Tang San also came out, looked at Zhao Xiangxiang and said, Senior, why don't we do what my brother said before, and let the two of us have a competition to decide the ownership of this phoenix-tail coxcomb snake? Your granddaughter is level 30, and I am level 29, which should ensure that this competition is relatively fair. Hearing this, Zhao Xiangxiang couldn't help but hesitate a little, and looked at Meng Yiren beside him. Meng Yiren understood the meaning in her eyes, so he said loudly, Grandma, agree to them. It's just a competition, right? Who's afraid of whom? Anyway, I will not lose. After confirming her granddaughter's intention, Zhao Xiangxiang also looked at Zhao Wuji and said, since the children all agree, let's have a competition. What do you think, brother Zhao? Zhao Wuji nodded, and couldn't help but look at Tang Liu with satisfaction, and said, then let's do this. How about the two of us being referees? Okay, Zhao Xiangxiang nodded, then stepped back a few steps, leaving the venue to Meng Yiren and Tang San. Tang San took a few steps forward, looked at Meng Yiren, and said, my name is Tang San, my martial spirit is blue silver grass, and I am a level 29 second ring battle spirit master. After hearing his martial spirit, Meng Yiren sneered with obvious disdain, and also said, Meng Yiren, my martial spirit is snake staff, and I am a level 32nd ring battle spirit master. Tang Liu shook his head slightly at this time and said, you only have contempt when you hear about blue silver grass, and don't think about how terrible it is for a guy who can cultivate blue silver grass to level 29 at the age of 12. No wonder so many people can't beat my brother. His voice was not loud, but it was just enough for the 7 monsters around him to hear. So everyone's expressions became a little weird. The battle was about to break out, and Tang San came up and used his first soul skill to wrap Meng Yiren up layer by layer, and also gave him the thorns of the blue silver grass ghost vine. In Tang San's view, once the blue silver grass, which has a nerve paralyzing poison, binds the enemy, the game is equivalent to the end. However, Meng Yiren was also a poison user. Not only was she immune to the poison on Tang San's blue silver grass, but her second soul skill, snake body, also allowed her to slide out of the dense blue silver grass like a snake. However, the ghost vine thorns on Tang San's blue silver grass really caused Meng Yiren's clothes to lose a lot. For a moment, her spring scenery was exposed, which made Daimyu Bei, Oscar, and Ma Hongjin's eyes go straight. Tang Liu couldn't help but take a few more glances. After all, Meng Yiren was not like the girls in the Shrek 7 Devils. She had grown up more maturely. Moreover, her appearance was not inferior to Xiao Wu, Ning Rongrong and Zhu Ziuking. So, Meng Yiren was completely annoyed and immediately launched a fierce attack on Tang San. In the end, the battle turned into a collision of soul power between the two. However, Meng Yiren was one step behind and lost the game. With the help of everyone, Tang San walked aside and began to recover his soul power. Brother, eat quickly. If I have a future, I will never forget you. Oscar handed Tang San a sausage of recovery, winking at him. Tang San rolled his eyes and ate the sausage without saying anything. We are one family, why are you talking like this? After saying that, he began to practice Zhuan Gong and began to recover his soul power. Tang Liu walked behind him and sat cross-legged, then slowly injected his soul power into his body to help him recover his soul power. After all, their martial spirits came from the same source, and they were brothers connected by blood, so Tang San's soul power would not reject Tang Liu's soul power. Tang San's Zhuan Gong soul power was blue, while Tang Liu's soul power was the blue-black color of the Haolan spell. As soon as the soul powers of the two merged, Tang Liu's blue-black soul power immediately turned into Tang San's blue Zhuan Gong soul power, which was very strange. At the same time, Tang Liu also opened his own virtual Blue Emperor domain to make the soul power of the two recover more smoothly. On the other side, Zhao Xiangxiang was also recovering Meng Yiren's soul power. Chapter 64, Advancement to Soul Master. Zhao Wuji looked at her and said with a smile, Sister Zhao, what do you think? Zhao Xiangxiang said calmly, I'm willing to accept the loss. If I lose, I'll lose. The 1,000-year-old phoenix-tailed coxcomb snake is yours. However, I will remember what happened today. Zhao Wuji ignored her threat and turned to Oscar and said, Oscar, what are you in a daze for? Hurry up. Oscar was overjoyed and hurried to Zhao Wuji, and used the short blade in his hand to put an end to the phoenix-tailed coxcomb snake. After the bright purple spirit ring appeared, Oscar immediately began to absorb the spirit ring without stopping. Zhao Wuji kept watching Zhao Xiangxiang to prevent her from making any unusual movements. After helping Meng Yiren recover her spirit power, Zhao Xiangxiang took Meng Yiren away. But before leaving, she did not forget to threaten Zhao Wuji. Similarly, Meng Yiren also glared at Tang San and Tang Liu beside him fiercely. She had no good feelings for Tang San who defeated her, and even more so for Tang Liu who proposed the duel. After the two disappeared, Zhao Wuji also secretly breathed a sigh of relief and began to concentrate on protecting Oscar. Oscar took half an hour to absorb the spirit ring, while Tang San and Tang Liu were still practicing. Congratulations, Xiaoyao. Zhao Wuji looked at Oscar who had woken up and smiled faintly. Xiaoyao, congratulations, let us see what your third spirit skill is. Daimyo Bei walked over with a smile and said. Forget it. Oscar was originally in high spirits, but when it came to spirit skills, he suddenly said with a bit of embarrassment. Come on, Xiaoyao, use it quickly to show us. Are you still afraid that we will laugh at you? Mo Hongjin also said. Okay, but you have to promise not to laugh. Oscar looked at them warily and said. Don't worry, we won't laugh at you, Daimyo Bei said. Then I'll start. Oscar looked at them again with caution, and then activated his third soul skill. I have a mushroom sausage. Upon hearing his soul spell, Daimyo Bei and Ma Hongjin couldn't help laughing, and then, after seeing the sausage made by Oscar's third soul skill, which looked very familiar to them, they couldn't help laughing. Don't laugh, what are you laughing at? Didn't you say you wouldn't laugh? Oscar's face was full of grief and indignation. Okay, Xiaoyao, tell me quickly, what is the effect of your third soul skill? Zhao Wuji also walked over with a smile, patted Oscar on the shoulder and said. Humph, just laugh. From now on, except for Xiao San and Xiao Liu, no one of you can eat my mushroom sausage. Oscar threatened first, and then told the effect of his third soul skill. The effect of my mushroom sausage is to fly. As soon as these words came out, the laughter around them stopped immediately, and there was silence. Ning Rongrong, who had been silent all the time, couldn't help but cast her eyes on Oscar, slightly absent-minded. Even Zhu Ziuqing couldn't help but look at Oscar more. Xiaoyao, is the effect of your third soul skill really flying? Zhao Wuji couldn't help but ask in surprise, his eyes flashing. Yes, but it can only fly for 1 minute. Oscar nodded and said. Everyone booed. Why didn't you say it earlier? I got excited for nothing. Daimyo rolled his eyes at Oscar and said. If it can only fly for 1 minute, I'm afraid you won't be able to fly across a wider river or canyon. Mo Hongjin frowned and said. Xiaoyao. Your third soul skill is a bit useless. Ning Rongrong also retracted her gaze and felt better. But then, Oscar's words surprised everyone again. Why are you in such a hurry? I haven't finished talking yet, Oscar said with a little dissatisfaction. What's wrong with being able to fly for only 1 minute? What if the flying speed is calculated according to the speed of the phoenix-tailed cockapoo? According to the speed of the phoenix-tailed cockapoo, Zhao Wuji thought for a while and said, that means, in 1 minute, It can fly at least 2 kilometers. Not bad, not a waste of effort. He smiled and patted Oscar on the shoulder. He was obviously very satisfied with Oscar's third soul skill. Since the effect is so good, how about the soul power consumption? Oscar thought for a while and said, mushroom sausage consumes more soul power than the first two. In my current situation, I can only make a maximum of 10 at a time, and then my soul power will be exhausted. I must restore all my soul power before I can make it again. 10 is enough. Moreover, as your own spirit power increases, this number will increase. Now, your sausage spirit can be classified as a powerful auxiliary spirit. Okay, everyone, get ready. When Xiao San and Xiao Liu wake up from their training, we will leave here and return to the academy immediately, Zhao Wuji said with a satisfied look on his face. No, we will stay here for a while. At this time, Tang Liu's voice came over. Everyone looked at him and found that he had woken up from assisting Tang San in his training. He stood up and said, my brother is level 30. It's not too late to help him get a spirit ring before leaving. Tang Liu's words solved everyone's doubts. At this time, Tang San also woke up and smiled. Yes, my spirit power has also broken through level 30. Teacher Zhao, why don't you help me get the third spirit ring first and then return to the academy? At this time, when he said this, everyone around was stunned. Fortunately, with Tang Liu as a role model, it was much easier for everyone to accept Tang San, a 12-year-old soul master. Zhao Wuji suddenly looked at Tang San seriously and said, tell me how old you are this year, to the exact month. Tang San said without hesitation, 12 years and 7 months. Zhao Wuji nodded and looked at the others. You all saw it, especially the few people who haven't reached level 30 yet. Tang San is the same age as you, but he is about to enter another level now. 12 years and 7 months. I think this record will always remain in the records of Shrek Academy, forever. And me, I'm 20 minutes younger than my brother, but I'm already a soul master, Tang Liu said a little unconvinced at this time. I'm the fastest to break through level 30. Okay, although this record in Shrek Academy is about to be broken by Xiao Wu, it doesn't prevent him from satisfying his vanity first. What's more, he is the youngest soul master on the continent. Hearing this, Daimyo Bei didn't want to talk to them anymore. Are all the people in Tang San's family monsters among monsters? Chapter 65, Special Effects of Domain. Don't worry, your record has long been recorded by the Dean himself, and it is estimated that it will be difficult for anyone to break it from ancient times to the present. At this point, Zhao Wuji looked at Tang Liu with a strange look. Hearing this, Tang Liu was stunned for a moment, and then he understood what Zhao Wuji was talking about. Tang Hao probably told Flanders and Zhao Wuji that he was already a soul master. Okay. You are a guy who has so much more soul power than me by innate, and you have only cultivated to soul master now. Don't you think it's a bit slow? Tang San touched Tang Liu's head and smiled. That's just what you see on the surface. Tang Liu was not convinced and crossed his chest. The people around him, except Xiao Wu, suddenly felt that they were not well. Just cultivated to soul master? Don't you think it's a bit slow? You are just a ghost, slow brother-in-law. You are so pretentious. Do you still want to live? However, if they knew that Tang Liu was actually an innate level 20 soul power, they would probably think that Tang Liu's cultivation was very slow. Brother, congratulations, I will catch up with you as soon as possible. Xiao Wu hugged Tang San's arm and smiled in his ear. A hint of ambiguity flashed across Tang Liu's face, and then he quickly left the two of them to avoid being fed dog food. By the way, will I have a girlfriend on this Douluo continent? If so, who should I choose? Okay, let's take a break first and go find a suitable soul beast for Xiao San. Zhao Wuji smiled and said. Of course, he did not let everyone rest in place, but took a few people to move horizontally in the forest for a distance, probably because he was afraid that Zhao Xiangxiang, the snake woman, would come back with Long Gong to find trouble. In this way, everyone stayed in this Xingdao Great Forest for 2 days, but they did not find a soul beast suitable for Tang San. Tang Liu, who knew the plot, was not in a hurry at all, and just waited for the Titan giant ape to come. Speaking of which, I will have to add soul rings to the clear sky hammer in the future. I always feel that it would be a bit of a waste if I only add soul rings of 10,000 years. Otherwise, how about copying Hogua's model and adding soul rings of 100,000 years to the clear sky hammer? Thinking of the Titan ape, Tang Liu thought of his second martial soul, the clear sky hammer. The clear sky hammer is a power type martial soul. If you want it to become stronger, you can only add soul beasts with the same power attribute. Tang Liu didn't want to waste the soul ring position of the clear sky hammer, so naturally he wanted to add soul rings of 100,000 years to the clear sky hammer. Moreover, speaking of copying Hogua's model, in fact, Tang Liu's first martial soul, the Void Spirit Blue Silver Emperor, also copied Hogua's soul ring ratio. Except that his first soul ring is 100 years instead of 1,000,000 years, the second and third soul rings are the same age as Hou Hao. Should I attack Shuangjun? However, if I attack Shuangjun, I will have to face a series of murderers such as Di Yan, and even the Silver Dragon King. It's not worth it. Douluo continent is so big, it's impossible that only their beasts are 100,000 years old, right? When I become stronger, I will go around the continent and look for them. Time passed slowly, and night fell in the forest. The male students began to set up tents, and the female students were responsible for getting some food. As for Tang Liu and Oscar, they were excluded by Tang San, Daimubei and Ma Hongjin, and they were asked to go with the girls to find food. After a simple dinner, Zhao Wuji asked everyone to go into the tent to practice. He himself took on the task of keeping watch. Of course, he did not forget to call Tang San, talk to him, and comforted him not to worry. In the tent, except Tang Liu, everyone else had already sat cross-legged and entered the state of practice. Although Tang Liu also closed his eyes, he did not practice. Instead, he opened his own virtual Blue Emperor domain and used the effect of connection to gradually extend his thoughts and pay attention to the movements around him. Although the virtual Blue Emperor domain only has 5 effects, each one is undoubtedly very useful to Tang Liu. For example, the stimulation effect of the virtual Blue Emperor domain can promote the growth of blue-silver grass. When this effect acts on a soul master, it becomes an increase in all attributes. Now Tang Liu is using the connection effect of the virtual Blue Emperor domain, which can connect his mental power with the blue-silver grass and make the blue-silver grass his eyes and ears. Moreover, this special effect is not limited by the scope of the domain. As long as the distance between each blue-silver grass is close enough, theoretically his mental power can spread to the entire Douluo continent. As for whether the connection effect can act on soul masters, Tang Liu has not tried it yet. Of the remaining 3 effects, regeneration, hiding breath and imperial might, only the imperial might special effect Tang Liu has not figured out. When he asked the system, it was just please explore on your own as much as possible. When the host really has no direction, the system will give an answer. Regeneration is the rapid repair of wounds, and it even has an amplifying effect on the recovery of soul power. Hiding breath is to hide his breath, so that he can become blue-silver grass or other plants in the perception of others, and completely integrate into the world. As for the imperial might, one of the effects Tang Liu has discovered so far should be attribute weakening, which is still to be developed. In this way, Tang Liu maintained the special effect of contact, and soon felt the Titan giant ape. In fact, it was very simple, because in his perception, the blue-silver grass in a certain direction sent him a feeling of fear at almost the same time, and the next moment, his connection with those blue-silver grasses was broken. The Titan giant ape's majesty actually cut off his mental connection with the blue-silver grass. Inside the tent, Tang Liu opened his eyes instantly, a gleam of light flashed in his eyes, and then he quietly got up and walked out of the tent. At this time, Zhao Wuji's shout also rang out, waking up the people who were practicing. Everyone leave the tent. Then, several people led by Daimubei followed Tang Liu out of the tent. Tang Liu and Xiao Wu immediately walked to Tang San and stood beside him. Tang Liu glanced at Xiao Wu and found that she looked a little uneasy. It was probably because she felt the breath of the Titan giant ape Ming. With a turn of his eyes, Tang Liu seemed to have thought of something. Looking at Xiao Wu holding Tang San's hand, he gently hooked his lips and also held Tang San's hand. At the same time, a blue-black light flashed under his feet, and no one noticed it. At this time, a Haolan mark had passed through Tang San's body and came to Xiao Wu. Tang Liu touched Tang San's skin, and Xiao Wu also had contact with Tang San's skin, so one of the marking prerequisites of the Haolan mark, the indirect skin contact condition, was achieved. Chapter 66 Titan Ape. Teacher Zhao, what's wrong? At this time, Daimubei asked in confusion. Zhao Wuji did not answer his question, but said in a deep voice, everyone come behind me. If there's any situation later, don't worry about me. Leave here immediately and get out of the Xingdao Great Forest first. Mubei, when I'm not here, The responsibility of protecting everyone will be handed over to you. Before they could ask the reason, the Titan ape appeared. Two tall trees suddenly leaned to the sides, as if someone had slowly pushed them away. Then, under the faint moonlight, they saw the tall figure coming. It was like a mountain. The dark hair on the whole body shone with a faint luster under the weak moonlight. Although it was on all fours, its height was still extremely huge and its shoulders were extremely broad. If it stood up, I'm afraid its height would exceed 15 meters, which was amazing. From the outside, it looked like a monkey and a chimpanzee. Except for a pair of lantern-like eyes emitting a strange luster, the whole body was pitch black. If it wasn't moving, you couldn't even see its body clearly at night. It was not only tall, but also extremely majestic, with protruding muscles like granite on a hill, which looked very scary. But such a huge guy didn't make any sound when walking, and even the ground didn't tremble with its movement, as if it had no weight. Moreover, no one could hear its breathing. When they saw it, everyone's breathing seemed to stop, and they only felt an extremely strong pressure condensing in their hearts, which was very uncomfortable. Because he had been taught by the master, Tang San recognized the identity of the visitor at a glance, so for a moment, even his voice changed. It turned out to be the king of the forest, the Titan giant ape. Respected king of the forest, we have no intention of offending. If this is your territory, we are willing to withdraw immediately. Zhao Wuji also recognized the identity of this huge creature and said in a deep voice. However, the Titan giant ape ignored him and continued to move forward. This step made it closer to the Shrek people. Zhao Wuji gritted his teeth and released his martial spirit, saying to everyone, I will stop it. You eat mushroom sausage and leave immediately. I can't hold on for long, you must move quickly. As soon as he finished speaking, he roared, and the first, second, third, and fifth spirit rings on his body lit up one after another, and then he rushed towards the Titan giant ape. The Titan giant ape just glanced at him and used gravity control to make it difficult for him to move. Tang San, you cover everyone, I'll go help teacher Zhao. Not long after Zhao Wuji rushed out, Daimyo Bei also rushed out with a tiger roar, and the strongest third spirit skill White Tiger King Kong transformation was also activated instantly. The top was instantly burst by the swollen muscles, and black stripes appeared on the skin, looking like a tiger. You go, I have to help them, I can't leave. Ning Rongrong, who had not spoken for a few days, spoke at this time, releasing the 7 treasures glazed tower, and her voice was full of determination. The 7 treasures have names, one is power. The other is speed. 4 brilliant rays of light shot out from the 7 treasures glazed tower in her hand as her spirit rings lit up, landing on Zhao Wuji who was fighting with the Titan giant ape, and Daimyo Bei who was rushing towards the Titan giant ape. Then it's my turn now, Tang Liu laughed twice, and released the Void Blue Silver Emperor, and then the first and third spirit rings lit up. Void Control and Void Protection were instantly attached to Zhao Wuji. For a moment, Zhao Wuji, who was unable to move due to the Titan giant ape's gravity control, instantly felt a huge increase in strength and speed. At the same time, the pressure on his body also weakened instantly, and the impact on him was almost imperceptible. While secretly shocked by Tang Liu and Ning Rongrong's auxiliary ability, he couldn't help but smile bitterly. Because now he also saw Daimyo Bei and Tang San rushing up. Okay, since you all don't want to leave, let's fight to death together. Whoever runs away is a grandson, Zhao Wuji shouted, and then the 7th soul ring on his body began to shine. The true form of his martial soul, the mighty King Kong bear. His body began to expand rapidly in an instant, and in a blink of an eye he grew to the same height as the Titan giant ape. Then, the first 6 soul rings on his body shone almost at the same time. The strong attack instantly went towards the Titan giant ape. Second soul skill, Void Spirit Hide. Later, Tang Liu launched his soul skill again, and the second circle of purple soul rings shone. Then, Zhu's Huking and Xiao Wu's figures rushing towards the Titan giant ape disappeared instantly. Tang San's blue silver grass madly wrapped around the Titan giant ape's legs, trying to restrict his movements, but the Titan giant ape could break the blue silver grass with a casual move. But Tang Liu has not stopped releasing soul skills. Although his soul power is extremely weak when using the Howlin spell, using the Void Spirit Blue Silver Emperor except for the third soul skill, or using the Void Spirit Blue Emperor domain, is almost equivalent to a perpetual state. At least, if it is released continuously, it will last for an hour without any problem. First, the Void Blue Emperor domain was released, and the special effects immediately acted on everyone present, and all attributes were improved. At the same time, the blue-silver grass on the ground also grew wildly under the special effects, and then madly wrapped around the Titan ape, cooperating with Tang San to restrict the Titan ape's actions. If Zhao Wuji did not have to bear the greatest pressure, Tang Liu would have attached the void spirit control to Tang San. As a soul master, Tang Liu's first soul skill's duration has long been increased to 2 minutes. Damn it, one day I will find a way to change the first soul skill into a group skill. Tang Liu felt the disadvantage of his first soul skill, so he cursed secretly. Oscar was standing at the back at this moment, constantly creating mushroom sausages to prepare for everyone. Dai Mu Bei, who was at the front, had already spit out the white tiger fierce light wave towards the Titan ape. Ma Hongjin, who was guarding the 3 assistants, also used 2 soul skills to fully activate, and remotely spit phoenix fire lines at the Titan ape's lower body, which could be said to be extremely shameless. At the same time, Zhu Zhuqing and Xiao Wu also emerged from hiding. They appeared on both sides of the Titan ape without knowing when, and attacked the Titan ape almost at the same time. At this time, the Titan ape seemed to be enraged, and its upper body instantly stood up, beating its chest with its strong arms. At the same time, a black air wave instantly emanated from its body. Chapter 67, Battle Against the Titan Ape. I've been waiting for your move. Seeing that the black air wave was about to blow everyone away, Tang Liu's 10,000-year soul ring lit up. The third soul skill, the protection of the spirit, 95% of the damage effect is exempted, and an additional 60% damage immunity bonus. Instantly act on everyone. So, the 9 people who should have been blown away by the Titan giant ape, in this majestic black air wave, remained motionless. Seeing that his attack had no effect on these little things that could have been killed casually, the Titan giant ape couldn't help but be a little confused for a while. However, it was confused, and the Shrek people were not yet, and another wave of attacks was launched towards it. The Titan giant ape let out a roar, and then punched the ground. The earth let out a mournful cry under its terrifying power, and then a large amount of soil and rock splashed out, shaking everyone away. Even Zhao Wuji, who had opened his martial soul, was blown away by the Titan giant ape's seemingly casual punch. This is the strength of the king of the forest, the true power of the 100,000-year-old Titan giant ape. The Titan giant ape's attack was too sudden, so Tang Liu only had time to release the void spirit protection again, barely protecting everyone from the shock and preventing everyone from being hit by the flying earth and rocks, but he couldn't stop them from flying backwards in this shock. But apart from him, the others were also trying their best to avoid being hurt by the earth and rocks. The first one was Tang San. Tang San's blue-silver grass was undoubtedly very useful in this situation. The blue-silver grass spread out as much as possible, first entangled Xiao Wu, Tang Liu, Oscar, Ningrongrong and Ma Hongjin who were closest to him, and then pulled everyone together with a force. Afterwards, the blue-silver grass grew rapidly again, entangled in front of several people, and finally turned into a big net, blocking all the earth and rocks outside. At the same time, there were also a lot of blue-silver grass growing behind them, wrapping them tightly, and they fell heavily on the ground. Because of the double protection of the void spirit protection and the blue-silver grass, everyone just felt a little dizzy, and there was no other serious problem. On the other side, Dai Mu Bei was closest to Zhu Zhuqing, and he hugged her directly. The white tiger body barrier and the white tiger Vajra transformation were activated at the same time, raising his defense to the highest level. He used his back to bear all the dirt and rocks. When the two of them were about to land, Dai Mu Bei hugged Zhu Zhuqing and turned around, and used his back to bear all the recoil. Fortunately, there was the void spirit protection, otherwise he would definitely be seriously injured and vomit blood. Then, Zhao Wuji, who stabilized his body first, also came over. The huge body under the Wuhan true body blocked all the remaining dirt and rocks for the two of them. But before everyone could catch their breath, the Titan giant ape jumped high and flew towards everyone at a speed that was difficult to see with the naked eye. Although everyone was blown away by the Titan giant ape's punch just now, they were actually standing relatively close to each other. If they were attacked by the Titan ape, they would be wiped out on the spot. Therefore, Tang San immediately controlled the blue-silver grass to throw Tang Liu, Xiao Wu, Oscar, Ningrongrong and Ma Hongjin around him, and then he used the blue-silver grass tied to Tang Liu and himself to pull himself out of the Titan ape's attack range. On the other side, Zhao Wuji did not dare to be careless. After holding up Dime Yubei and Zhu Zhuking on the ground with his bare paw, he pounced and avoided the Titan Ape in a panic. Boom! When the Titan Ape landed, everyone was temporarily deafened by the violent roar and was in a trance. Taking advantage of the few seconds when everyone was distracted, the Titan Ape grabbed Xiao Wu on the ground, and then jumped up, instantly reaching 100 meters away, and then disappeared in the forest at night. No, Xiao Wu. The moment Tang San came to his senses was the moment when the Titan Ape grabbed Xiao Wu and jumped up. His eyes were instantly red, but he could do nothing. Zhao Wuji's spirit avatar state was also lifted, and he walked over with Dime Yubei and Zhu Zhuking. The Titan Ape's movements were too fast, even he couldn't save Xiao Wu in that situation. And his spirit power was almost exhausted now, so it was obviously unrealistic to catch up. Besides, this was the Titan Ape's home ground, and it was so difficult to find it. Take a break, let's leave here first. Tang San, I'm sorry, please accept my condolences, Zhao Wuji sighed and said to Tang San. Tang San lowered his head, making it impossible to see his expression. It's okay, Teacher Zhao, it's not your fault, it's all my fault for not protecting Xiao Wu. Hey, you all should recover your spirit power as soon as possible. Due to the pressure of the Titan Ape, no other spirit beasts will visit here for a long time. Zhao Wuji sighed again, and then quietly walked aside to recover his spirit power. The others also began to recover their spirit power silently. Losing a teammate was undoubtedly a severe blow to them. Everyone was in a heavy mood. Of course, except Tang Liu, who knew the truth. His expression was solemn because of something else. His current soul skills were all paving the way for the future, but now, in a group battle, he only had 1/3 soul skill that was of the greatest use to his teammates. The first 2 soul skills were dispensable, and at most were very practical for himself. Did I take the wrong path? After all, even Ning Rongrong's current single attribute amplification was more effective for his teammates than his invisibility. Maybe his first soul skill, the virtualization, was very strong, but it was only a single soul skill after all, with too many restrictions. There must be a way to solve it. He followed Tang San and came to Oscar silently. At this time, Tang San's subtle voice rang in his ears. Xiao Liu, listen to my command later, and you will add the virtual spirit control and virtual spirit concealment to me. After hearing Tang San's words from the line, Tang Liu also understood in his heart that he had to leave alone to find Xiao Wu. On the other side, Oscar was also stunned for a while, and also heard Tang San's voice. After a moment, he sighed, and then started to make mushroom sausages. There was no way to hide the sound of his soul spell. Therefore, everyone's eyes fell on him almost instantly. Xiao Liu, what are you doing? Ning Rongrong, who was supported by him, exclaimed. But it was too late. Tang San's voice sounded again. Xiao Liu. Tang Liu understood, and the void spirit control and void spirit concealment instantly fell on Tang San. Chapter 68 Tracking Xiao Wu. At the moment of invisibility, Tang San also quickly took the mushroom sausage made by Oscar and ate it. Before everyone could react, Tang San had already flown into the sky. Zhao Wuji reacted the fastest and directly released a gravity squeeze in the sky, trying to keep Tang San. However, because Tang San was protected by the void spirit, he was not affected by his spirit skills. However, Tang Liu still took the initiative to remove the void spirit anonymity on Tang San, so that Ning Rongrong could increase his speed. After revealing his figure, Tang San thought that he was attacked by Zhao Wuji and had lifted the invisibility. He didn't think much about it. He looked at the people below and said, I'm sorry, Teacher Zhao, I want to find her, even if I only find her body. The 7 treasures have a name, the second is, speed. Ning Rongrong's crisp voice also rang at this time, and the light of speed enhancement instantly fell on Tang San. Xiao San, go quickly, I support you. I have increased the output of soul power, and the speed up effect should be able to last for 1 minute after leaving my soul power range. You must find Xiao Wu, she is also my roommate. Ning Rongrong ignored Zhao Wuji's murderous eyes and said to Tang San. Tang San did not say much, looked at her deeply, and then flew towards the direction where the Titan Ape disappeared at a very fast speed, and disappeared in the night in a blink of an eye. You guys, Zhao Wuji looked at Oscar and Ning Rongrong, and was so angry that he couldn't speak. Oscar smiled bitterly, Teacher Zhao, you also saw Xiao San's eyes. If we don't let him go, I'm afraid he will chase after him even if he walks. I can understand his feelings. If you want to blame me, Zhao Wuji roared, blame? What's there to blame? Hurry up and get me your mushroom sausage. Since we are going to chase, let's go together. If we want to die, we can die together. Whoever doesn't want to go, get out of the zinged out great forest. As soon as these words came out, the expressions of the remaining 6 monsters suddenly became resolute. However, Tang Liu's actions were faster than theirs. After hearing what Zhao Wuji said, Tang Liu cast a void spirit anonymity on himself, and then said, "In that case, I will go ahead." As soon as he finished speaking, he switched to his third martial soul, the Haolan magic, and then ran at full speed in the direction where Tang San left. He didn't care about what Zhao Wuji and the other 6 monsters were feeling. 4 circles of blue-black soul rings rose slowly, and then the blue-black soul ring at the end of the list began to shine. Martial Soul 3, Haolan Magic Soul Ring 4, Skill, Haolan, Recovery, specify any 4, upgradable, units within 150, upgradable, meters of yourself, and instantly restore their physical strength, soul power, mental strength, etc. to full. The worse the current state of the target unit, the more soul power is consumed. You can use this skill on yourself 4 times, can be upgraded, without any consumption in 1 day. After the times are used up, this skill cannot be used on yourself within 24 hours, starting from the 4th time of the same day. If the times in the same day are not used up, the number of uses will be refreshed at 0 o'clock. If your soul power is less than 40% of your maximum soul power, this skill cannot be used on others. His body instantly shone with a blue-black light, but under the hiding of the void spirit. And he ran far away, so no one could see it. After restoring his state to the peak, Tang Liu activated his Haolan transmission. The target location of the transmission was Xiao Wu. The blue-black light flashed, and the scenery in front of him suddenly changed. At the same time, Tang Liu's soul power was instantly consumed by more than half. So, without any hesitation, he released Haolan recovery on himself again. The soul power was full again. The moment he appeared here was also the moment when the Titan giant ape roared and drove away the soul beast. Patting his chest, Xiao Funi, who had been trembling since the moment the Titan ape appeared, retracted his martial spirit, and then Tang Liu showed up. In fact, the Titan ape had already discovered him the moment he appeared. However, due to Xiao Wu, the Titan ape just looked at him vigilantly and did not move. Xiao Liu, Xiao Wu saw him appear, and her expression was surprised at first, and then became ugly. Tang Liu knew what he was thinking, so he said, "Don't be nervous, Sister Xiao Wu. You are going to be my future sister-in-law." Hearing what he said, Xiao Wu also calmed down, looked at him with a somewhat lonely expression, and said, "You know," Tang Liu smiled, without denying or confirming, but said, "My father is a titled Douluo." Hearing this, Xiao Wu's expression became even uglier. The mountain-like Titan ape on the side felt Xiao Wu's sadness, and with a low roar, it was about to attack Tang Liu. "Erming, don't hurt him," Xiao Wu hurriedly stopped him. It was at this time that Tang Liu continued, "But, my mother was also transformed from a 100,000-year-old soul beast." Hearing what he said, Xiao Wu immediately raised her head and stared at him blankly. After a long while, she said, "You mean?" Tang Liu smiled and nodded, giving her a definite answer, "Yes, my brother and I both have half of the soul beast blood in our bodies. Moreover, my father does not object to the 2 of you." Xiao Wu immediately raised her hand to cover her red lips, looking at him in disbelief. Her face suddenly turned red. "What are you talking about? I don't like Xiao San." After hearing what Tang Liu said, Xiao Wu's heart was already filled with secret joy, but she still said so. "It's okay, I will like it anyway. You don't know, my brother was almost crazy when he saw you being captured by it, you know? Now he has left Teacher Zhao and came to find you." Tang Liu deliberately exaggerated the matter a little, and unceremoniously gave his brother points in front of the foreign sister-in-law. "Brother San, will he be okay?" Hearing that Tang San had eaten mushroom sausage and came to find her alone, Xiao Wu couldn't help but worry about Tang San's safety. "Don't worry, he won't die, and he can still get his 3rd spirit ring." Tang Liu shook his head and said, "You, hurry up and condense the 3rd spirit ring, so that you can go find him." Xiao Wu nodded, then sat down cross-legged, ready to start condensing her 3rd spirit ring. "By the way, Sister Xiao Wu, don't tell my brother about what I just told you, okay?" Tang Liu finally explained. Xiao Wu nodded, then closed her eyes and began to practice. Tang Liu looked at the Titan giant ape who was looking at him curiously, and then told the purpose of his coming. Titan Giant Ape, in the starred-out Great Forest, besides you, are there other power-type 100,000-year-old spirit beasts? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69, Isn't it a younger brother's duty to betray his elder brother? The Titan Ape looked at him quietly for a while, then said, My name is Erming. Xiao Wu said that when you meet someone, you should say your name first. Tang Liu couldn't help but smile when he heard his muffled voice, and then said, Hello, Erming. My name is Tang Liu. Hello. The Titan Ape sat down on the ground and stretched out his hand to him. Tang Liu stood on its palm, not afraid that the Titan Ape would suddenly harm him. You have a breath that I like very much. The Titan Ape lifted him up in front of him and said. Tang Liu thought about it and felt that it should be because of his Haolan magic martial spirit. After all, Xiao Funi decided to follow him because of his third martial spirit. I think you should be talking about my martial spirit, Tang Liu replied, and then released his Haolan magic. The Titan Ape's huge eyes looked at the 4 blue-black soul rings rising under Tang Liu's feet seriously, and then said, You are also a soul beast. Its tone was very sure, which made Tang Liu stunned. After a while, he finally said, Although my mother is a human who was transformed from a 100,000-year-old soul beast, and I have half of the soul beast blood in my body, I am indeed a human. The Titan Giant Ape shook his head, and then said, You can cultivate soul rings by yourself, so you are also a soul beast. If someone kills you, you will also produce soul rings and soul bones, just like me, Daming, and Sister Xiao. Hearing this, Tang Liu was stunned again, because he found that he had no way to refute the Titan Giant Ape's words. Moreover, he also remembered the system's description of his third martial soul. The strange combination and evolution of the Blue Silver Emperor and Clear Sky Hammer dual martial souls seemed to have some of the characteristics of soul beasts and the unparalleled attack power of the Clear Sky Hammer, as well as a powerful and mysterious force that seems to come from another world, the characteristics of some soul beasts. Isn't it that his third martial soul can cultivate soul rings by itself like a transformed soul beast? Maybe, you are right. Soul beasts are soul beasts. As long as I don't give others the chance to kill me, they will never get my soul rings and soul bones. Tang Liu accepted these things very quickly without any psychological burden. Anyway, it's good that he is in human form now. You still have a 100,000-year soul beast on you. Little Funi couldn't hide under the eyes of the king of the forest, so it crawled out on its own initiative. Tang Liu felt its movement and took it out. Little Funi almost shrank into a ball in Tang Liu's hand, and said to the Titan Giant Ape tremblingly, Hello, respected king of the forest. For people or beasts that are not familiar with Xiao Wu, the Titan Giant Ape is not so good-tempered. He ignored Little Funi and continued to talk to Tang Liu. Why is it on you? Because it said that it can quickly cultivate to 200,000 years by following me. Moreover, it also wants to go to the human world to have a look, Tang Liu answered truthfully. After all, he knew that the Titan Giant Ape Erming had a good heart. Practice for 200,000 years, Tang Liu clearly felt the disdain from the expression and tone of the Forest King. However, he did not explain anything, so as not to cause unnecessary trouble. After stuffing Little Funi back into his lapel, he asked the question he asked at the beginning, Erming, in this Xingdao Great Forest, besides you, are there other 100,000-year power-type soul beasts? Erming came closer, his tone changed slightly, and said, Do you want to kill a 100,000-year soul beast to obtain a 100,000-year soul ring? Tang Liu's expression remained calm, as if he did not hear the threat in the Titan Giant Ape's tone, and said, Look at my current strength, can I kill a 100,000-year soul beast? Moreover, I can't bear a 100,000-year soul ring now. After a few seconds of silence, the Titan Giant Ape made a new move, and its huge head moved away a little, saying, No more. Then do you know where there might be one? Tang Liu continued to ask. The Titan Giant Ape shook his head and said, I don't know. Okay. Tang Liu was not disappointed. After all, there was still the system as a trump card. I have asked all the questions I want to ask, so I will leave first. You should protect Sister Xiao Wu well. When she wakes up, you should ask her to find my brother quickly. After Tang Liu finished speaking, he wanted to teleport away. But at this time, he heard the Titan giant ape's somewhat anxious voice. You just said that Sister Xiao Wu is your future sister-in-law. What does that mean? After a slight pause, Tang Liu suddenly remembered that the Titan giant ape roaming in front of him, and the sky blue bull python gaming in the great evil land of the starred out great forest, all liked Xiao Wu. So, he smiled and said, Erming, sister-in-law means that Xiao Wu and Daming will be together in the future, and then you will call Sister Xiao Wu sister-in-law. Hearing this, the Titan giant ape was stunned for a moment, and he looked quite obedient. It shook its head violently, without thinking too deeply about why Tang Liu knew about Daming's existence, and said, No, Sister Xiao can't be with Daming. Tang Liu was so happy that he said, Don't worry, Xiao will not be with Daming, but will be with my brother in the future, so I have to call her sister-in-law. The Titan ape was stunned again, and then said, Who is your brother? I'm going to catch him. I can't let Xiao be with him. Tang Liu almost laughed out loud, but fortunately he held back and said, Don't worry, Erming, you will see him in about 8 to 10 years. You remember what he looks like, with long blue hair and looks very handsome, and Xiao will wait for him by the lake in your home. Don't be polite to me then, just beat him up, okay? I've remembered his appearance. 10 or 8 years is not a long time, it will be there when you wake up from a sleep. When the time comes, I will give him a good beating. Then I will capture him and hide him in the cave by my lake, so that he will not be with Sister Xiao Wu, the Titan giant ape said very seriously. Tang Liu said that he could hardly hold back his laughter, and reluctantly said, Okay, I support you, come on. Well, Tang Liu, we will be friends from now on. The Titan giant ape looked at Tang Liu with a sincere and serious look in his eyes. Hearing this, Tang Liu also became serious, and then said, Okay, Erming, we will be good friends from now on. Well, good friends, the Titan giant ape nodded heavily and said. Well, then I'm leaving. Remember to tell Sister Xiao Wu to let her come and meet us quickly, Tang Liu instructed. Okay, goodbye, friend, the Titan giant ape said. Goodbye, see you later. After saying this, Tang Liu teleported away. This time, he teleported directly to Tang San. Chapter 70, Human-Faced Demonic Spider. However, he was teleported to a place 5 meters away from Tang San, and he was not worried that he would be discovered by Tang San soon. Moreover, he also applied the special effects of the Void Spirit Concealment and the Void Spirit Blue Emperor Domain to himself. Tang Liu appeared behind a bush 5 meters away from Tang San. Once he arrived at the destination, he immediately used Haolan recovery to restore his soul power, which had been consumed by more than half, to its peak. At this time, he also saw the figure of Tang San. At this time, Tang San was fighting with a human-faced demon spider, but he already had this huge divine crossbow with a string in his right hand. The moment he saw Tang San, Tang Liu couldn't help but think of the incident of pitting Tang San in front of the Titan giant ape just now, and he wanted to laugh. However, the Titan giant ape's honesty and sincerity also touched him. Especially when he said that he wanted to make friends with him, the sincerity and seriousness in his eyes made Tang Liu's heart fluctuate. Now Tang San was in a crisis, and he also knew that he had to be more serious now and not be careless, so he temporarily put aside the thoughts in his heart and watched Tang San and the human-faced demon spider fight with full concentration. After calming down, Tang Liu used his first soul skill, the control of the void spirit, on Tang San. As the vines wrapped around Tang San no longer had to fear the sharp long legs of the human-faced demon spider, and the deadly poison attached to the spear-like long legs. At this moment, it was also the moment when Tang San swung the clear sky hammer at the human-faced demon spider. So, with his left hand holding the hammer up, he naturally saw the blue crystal-like vines wrapped around his left arm. After a slight surprise, he understood who was coming, so he was even more confident. When the clear sky hammer hammered the body of the human-faced demon spider upward, Tang San, who had been holding this huge divine crossbow with his right hand, pulled the trigger. The steel needle instantly sank into the vital part of the human-faced demon spider's eye. The vital part was hit, and the huge body of the human-faced demon spider stiffened for a moment, and then began to struggle before death. At this time, Tang Liu activated the second soul skill of the third martial soul Haolan spell, Haolan Teleport, and pulled Tang San to his side. Xiao Liu, why did you follow me? Where are the others? Tang San frowned and said as soon as he saw Tang Liu. They should be on their way. I ran away by myself, not with them, Tang Liu said. Of course, He did not tell Tang San that he went to find Xiao Wu and the Titan ape. Tang San then noticed the 4 blue-black spirit rings on Tang Liu's body, and smiled. I knew you shouldn't be just a soul master, but a soul sect. Tang Liu shook his head and took back his martial spirit. I still have to mark others before I can use this martial spirit. Otherwise, when the Titan giant ape comes, I can take everyone away directly. Speaking of the Titan giant ape, Tang San's mood became low. I don't know how Xiao Wu is now. Don't worry, brother. You go absorb the spirit ring of the human-faced demon spider first, and then we will go to find Sister Xiao Wu together. As long as you are a little stronger, you can increase your chances of finding Sister Xiao Wu, Tang Liu encouraged, and at the same time, he frantically apologized to Tang San in his heart. Sorry, brother, I didn't mean to hide it from you. If you really want to blame someone, blame our dad. Yes, all this is our dad's fault, there's nothing wrong. Well, you're right. Tang San looked at the human-faced demon spider that had stopped moving. His eyes became firm. Xiao Liu, protect me, and then we'll go find Xiao Wu together. Okay, Tang Liu nodded, and then walked with him to the corpse of the human-faced demon spider. Tang San looked at the bright purple spirit ring floating above the corpse of the human-faced demon spider and took a deep breath. Just when he was about to activate the spirit ring to absorb, he was interrupted by a sudden crisp voice. No. How could this happen? Why? Who is it? Who killed my demon spider? Tang San and Tang Liu looked in the direction of the voice at the same time and saw 3 figures. 2 of them were also familiar faces. If it wasn't the snake lady Zhao Xiangxiang and her granddaughter Meng Yiren, who else could it be? And the last person, the old man with 2 yellow, 3 purple, and 3 black spirit rings flashing on his body, holding a dragon head cane in his hand, was naturally the Dragon Lord among the peerless dragons and snakes mentioned by Zhao Wuji, that is, Meng Yiren's grandfather, Meng Shu. Tang San's expression changed slightly. Just based on what Meng Yiren said just now, he guessed the current situation and couldn't help but smile bitterly. Should this be called a coincidence or fate? They have robbed someone else's soul beast again. He stepped forward and protected Tang Liu behind him, then looked at Meng Yiren and Longgong Shpo and said, I killed it. The reason why he didn't let Tang Liu take him away by teleporting was because he didn't want to give up the soul ring of the human-faced demon spider. Moreover, Xiao Wu was still in this Xingdao Great Forest, and her life and death were uncertain. How could he leave? His voice immediately attracted the peerless dragon snake family. After Meng Yiren saw him in such a mess, he was stunned for a moment, and then his eyes were red. It's you again. Why did you steal my soul ring again? Meng Yiren felt so wronged. Was he at odds with this guy called Tang San? Why was it that every time the soul ring was about to be obtained, this guy would intervene and fly away? I don't know why it's such a coincidence, but it's me again. Is this human-faced demon spider also your prey? Tang San said with a bitter smile. Meng Yiren looked at Tang San, and it can be said that she was extremely angry, and her little face turned red. Seeing Tang San, the snake woman Zhao Xiangxiang also frowned, and whispered something in the ear of the Dragon Lord. Did you kill this human-faced demon spider? Dragon Lord Meng Shu looked at Tang San and said. Tang San nodded. Then do you know that in order to hunt this human-faced demon spider, we have been chasing it for a whole day? If it weren't for its spider web that was too annoying, it would have become Yiren's spirit ring by now. I believe you also know that the number of human-faced demon spiders is extremely rare, because it is not tolerated by other soul beasts. Even in the starred-out Great Forest, it is very rare, and it is much more precious than the phoenix-tail coxcomb snake. Tang San's expression did not change at all, still calm, and said lightly, I know everything you said. But I always have to protect myself. A human-faced demon spider suddenly appeared in front of me. Should I just ignore it and let it kill me? Dragon Lord frowned and said, You mean, you killed this human-faced demon spider by yourself? Tang San nodded, yes. Although Tang Liu also helped in the process, he didn't want to involve Tang Liu now. Moreover, even without Tang Liu, he was confident that he could kill the human-faced demon spider without injury. The appearance of Tang Liu was just icing on the cake, which made his safety factor much higher again. Chapter 71 Threatening Lord Dragon. After hearing that he must answer, Long Guang and the snake woman beside him looked at each other, silent and a little surprised. Long Gong turned the body of the human-faced demon spider over, and after seeing the 8 completely smashed eyes of the human-faced demon spider, he was more certain that Tang San was not lying, and at the same time, He couldn't help showing a hint of appreciation in his eyes. "Grandpa, you have to make the decision for me." Meng Yiren was not happy and immediately said to Long Gong. Lord Long stroked her fur and comforted her, then looked at Tang San and said, "Tang San, I, Lord Long Mengshu, have been in the spirit master world for so many years, and I am not an unreasonable person. Facing the attack of the human-faced demon spider, anyone would choose to protect himself, so it is understandable that you killed it. However, you can't just let it go because you have destroyed my granddaughter's spirit ring one after another. I will give you 2 choices now, and make a decision after listening to them." Tang San began to string this huge divine crossbow again, and at the same time silently restored his spirit power and physical strength. "I don't know, what are the 2 choices that the senior gave me?" Lord Long said. "The 2 choices I gave you are very simple. The first choice is that you join my family and become a member of my family. As long as you join, we will be a family. Since we are a family, the fact that you still obtained a spirit ring after 2 destructions, and the fact that the spirit ring of the human-faced demon spider was wasted, these things will be let it go. Don't think about it, old man. My brother will never join your family." At this time, Tang Liu saw that the time was right, and he also came out, with a hint of sarcasm in his tone, and said. Seeing him, Meng Yiren's eyes turned red again, and she shouted, "Why are you here too?" When Long Gong heard his words, a murderous intent flashed in his eyes, but he still turned his head to look at the snake woman beside him. Zhao Xiangxiang understood and immediately told him about Tang Liu's situation. Tang Liu glanced at Meng Yiren indifferently and said, "Why can't I be here?" He signaled Tang San not to worry, and then looked at Long Gong Mengshu again and said, "Old man, if you are titled Douluo, or your soul ring ratio was not so bad, then joining your family would still be considered. But with your strength, my brother is not qualified to join." Long Gong looked at Tang Liu with interest and said, "Oh, not qualified? Although I only have the strength of a soul Douluo, it is still easy to kill you 2 little guys." Tang Liu curled his lips in disdain, thinking, "What's a soul Douluo? Believe it or not, I can call a title Douluo to beat you to death in a minute." Although he thought so in his heart, he didn't say it out loud. Gently shaking his head, he smiled contemptuously, "If we really want to leave, you can't stop me. Even if a title Douluo is here, it won't work. Believe me, as long as I am willing, I can leave at any time after paying a little price." "In that case, why don't you leave?" Long Gong found that he was more interested in the 2 little guys who appeared. "We are not leaving yet, because one of our friends had an accident and was captured by a powerful soul beast. We chased here to find our friend. In fact, if you can help me find that friend, there is nothing wrong with joining your family." Tang San smiled bitterly at this time. "Well, not only my brother can, I can join you too." At this time, Tang Liu still knew to agree with his brother. "Tell me, what soul beast was your friend captured by?" Hearing this, Long Gong couldn't help but feel a little moved. If just saving one person can exchange for a 12-year-old genius, it is not impossible, and it is very cost-effective. He subconsciously thought that the soul beast that captured Xiao Wu was not strong. It's the king of the forest, the Titan giant ape, whose cultivation is at least 10,000 years. Tang San saw that there was a way, so he said hurriedly. After all, Dragon Lord Mengshu was the most powerful spirit master he had ever seen. After hearing his words, Mengshu and Zhao Xiangxiang's bodies stiffened at the same time, revealing an extremely surprised look. "Haha, that's not going to work," Tang Liu sneered unceremoniously. "I can understand that. After all, it's an ancient alien species like the Titan giant ape. Even a title Douluo may not be able to get away with it, let alone you, a soul Douluo and a soul emperor." Hearing this, Long Gong suddenly felt a little embarrassed and annoyed, and said, "Boy, your Titan giant ape is here to make fun of me, right? I don't have time to waste with you here. If you join my family, the matter of you stealing my granddaughter's soul ring twice will be forgotten. Otherwise, you can only choose the second way, leaving an arm as compensation for my granddaughter." "An arm? You're dreaming," Tang Liu sneered. "Why don't we exchange it? I'll give you 2 choices, how about it? The first choice, you take your old lover and your granddaughter away now. If you said you wanted an arm from my brother before, I can pretend that I didn't hear it and just forget about it. The second choice, all 3 of you shake hands with me once, and then use your own abilities to take our arms, how about it?" After saying that, he extended his left hand very elegantly, made a pleased gesture, and looked coldly at the peerless dragon snake family opposite. Although he looked calm on the surface, He was actually very anxious in his heart, wondering why Zhao Wuji and the others had not arrived yet. If Zhao Wuji did not come, he would have to let Xiao Funi take action. However, once Xiao Funi took action, the three people in front of him would have to die. He did not want the news that Xiao Funi was a 100,000-year-old soul beast to be spread. If it fell into the ears of the spirit hall, it would cause countless troubles. Tang San was not strong enough now, so it was not the time to tear his face with the spirit hall. What an arrogant boy, Long Guang laughed, but his eyes were full of murderous intent. He looked at Tang Liu and said, I will choose the third way now, which is to kill you directly. Senior Long Guang, please show mercy. Just when Long Guang was about to attack Tang Liu and Tang San, the voice of Zhao Wuji, who Tang Liu had been thinking about, finally rang out, making him breathe a long sigh of relief. A series of figures came at high speed. They were the Shrek 6 monsters led by Zhao Wuji. After seeing Zhao Wuji coming, Tang Liu no longer hesitated and immediately helped the extremely weak Tang San to the end of the team. After handing Tang San over to Daimyo Bei, Tang Liu quietly released his third martial soul, and then used the fourth soul skill Haolin, recovery on Zhao Wuji. And then used the last free Haolin recovery on himself today, restoring the soul power consumed when recovering Zhao Wuji to its peak. The reason why he didn't restore Tang San was to wait for Zhao Wuji's arrival and then give him the recovery. Chapter 72 Sister, how about considering my brother? Among their group, the only one who could threaten the peerless dragon snake was Zhao Wuji. Standing at the front, Zhao Wuji instantly felt that his condition in all aspects had recovered to the peak. He was full of confidence and said to Long Guang, I guess you are the senior Long Guang among the peerless dragon snake. I am Zhao Wuji, the Akala, and I have long heard of your name. As the saying goes, you should not hide a smiling person. Seeing that Zhao Wuji's attitude was not bad, the murderous intent in Long Guang's eyes gradually faded. Moreover, although he was a soul Douluo, Zhao Wuji was a power-type soul saint, and it would be troublesome for him to deal with it. If it weren't for Zhao Xiangxiang beside him who could perform martial soul fusion skills with him, I'm afraid his fear of Zhao Wuji would not be much less than Zhao Wuji's fear of him. Zhao Wuji, look at what good disciples you have taught. It's okay that Tang San has stolen my granddaughter's spirit ring twice, but Tang Liu has threatened me. Shouldn't you give me an explanation? Long Guang snorted coldly and said. Zhao Wuji then said, Senior, I think there are some misunderstandings. Moreover, although I am the teacher of these children, Tang San and Tang Liu are not my disciples. Their master is someone else, and I dare not take the responsibility. Oh, Long Guang was really confused this time. He didn't know what Tang Liu's cultivation was, but he knew Tang San. But to be able to teach a disciple as talented as Tang San, could his teacher be a simple person? Zhao Wuji saw that there was a way, and there was no need to fight, so he said, Senior Long Guang, can I have a word with you? Long Guang frowned, but finally nodded and agreed, and came to a distance of 20 meters with Zhao Wuji. What do you want to say? Please tell me, Long Guang said lightly. Zhao Wuji glanced behind him, and after confirming that Tang San or Tang Liu had not followed, he lowered his voice and said, Senior Long Guang, in fact, Tang San and Tang Liu are the sons of the youngest titled Douluo on our continent. What? Long Guang's expression instantly became horrified. They are actually the children of Haoshan Douluo. Thinking of his previous attitude towards Tang San and Tang Liu, and Tang Liu's threats to him later, Long Guang's murderous intent gradually rose again. What if he let those two guys go back and Haoshan Douluo came to trouble him? Zhao Wuji obviously knew what he was thinking, but he was not panicked at all, and said, besides, Haoshan Douluo has actually been staying by their side to protect them. Now, maybe he is watching them somewhere. Thinking back to the time when I beat those two boys, it was the same. You are just one-sided, how can I believe you? Although Zhao Wuji said so, Long Guang's murderous intent still did not disappear, but it was much less. Haoshan Douluo once told me that he didn't show up just to let the two children grow up better. But when they are in danger, he will help them. Moreover, he told me that no matter where he is now, his youngest son, Tang Liu, can make him appear beside the two brothers in an instant, Zhao Wuji said, telling Long Guang the half-truth that Tang Hao had told him. Long Guang remembered Tang Liu's confident face saying that he couldn't stop them, and he began to believe it in his heart, so the original murderous intent gradually dissipated. Okay, then I will give you face today and not pursue these things. Long Guang finally gave in, and returned to Zhao Xiangxiang with an ugly look. and whispered to her what had just happened. In an instant, she looked at Tang San and Tang Liu with a look of surprise. For all this, Tang San didn't want to know the truth like Tang Liu, so he was very confused. If that's the case, then let's just call it a day. Let's go. Long Gong took one last look at Tang San and Tang Liu, and said, turning around to take Zhao Xiangxiang and Meng Yiren away. Seeing that he was really leaving, Meng Yiren suddenly became anxious, so she once again asked for a competition. As a result, Tang San was surprised to find that Meng Yiren could also use hidden weapons, and for a moment he felt a lot closer to her. So after defeating her, according to her characteristics, he gave her a set of bone-piercing nails, and also taught her a method of locating by sound. Then, she also kissed Tang San according to the bet proposed by Oscar. So, Tang Liu, who had been watching from the side, had the idea of finding a few more sisters-in-law for himself. Well, I think it's good, it's possible. So he came to Meng Yiren and said, Sister Yiren, I am embarrassed to have robbed you of your spirit ring twice. Since my brother gave you a set of bone-penetrating nails, I will give you 3 storage spirit guides to play with. Choosing the person who is his sister-in-law, Tang Liu's mouth suddenly became very sweet, coupled with his extremely lethal face, which made the last bit of resentment in Meng Yiren's heart dissipate. Taking the exquisite bracelet-shaped storage magic tool handed over by Tang Liu, Meng Yiren whispered thank you. Tang Liu showed an innocent smile, widened his beautiful eyes and looked at Meng Yiren cutely, saying, You're welcome. Sister Yiren, you are so beautiful, why don't you consider my brother? Hearing this, Meng Yiren's pretty face was immediately stained with a blush, and she couldn't help but glance at Tang San behind her. Tang San became a little dazed after hearing his words, and then immediately grabbed Tang Liu's throat and covered his mouth with a red face, and looked at Meng Yiren and said embarrassedly, I'm sorry, children talk without thinking, and they only know how to talk nonsense all day long. Meng Yiren lifted the hair beside her ear, and was a little afraid to look at Tang San, and said, It's okay, your brother is very cute, Long Gong. Hey, no, my eldest granddaughter. That kid was still threatening us just now, right? How come you changed your mind in the blink of an eye? In the end, the 3 of them turned around and left. Originally, Meng Yiren's kiss on Tang San had some meanings of an older sister kissing a younger brother, but after being so touched by Tang Liu, Meng Yiren, who originally thought it was nothing, felt differently in her heart. After seeing the 3 people leave, Tang San finally breathed a sigh of relief, then glared at Tang Liu who was being strangled by him, and said, You are itching for trouble, right? You dare to use your brother as a gun? Tang Liu shook his head quickly. Beside him, the students of Shrek Academy all gathered around, looking at Tang San with a smile. Don't worry, I wrote this paragraph just to increase the word count. I will not break up the original CP, nor will I add CP randomly. Funny. Chapter 73 begins to absorb. Saner, how is it? How does it feel to be kissed by a beautiful woman? Oscar said with a lewd smile. Tang San rolled his eyes at him and said, Don't mention these things. Give me a recovery sausage quickly. I want to absorb the spirit ring. He still remembered that Xiao Wu was still waiting for him to save her. After taking the recovery sausage, Tang San also let go of Tang Liu. Tang Liu, who regained his freedom, first took a deep breath, and then looked at Tang San with some resentment. I just found a few more sisters-in-law for me, is there anything wrong with that? Xiao Liu, otherwise you can be my brother. It's a good deal to have a brother who helps his brother find a girlfriend. Dai Mubei patted Tang Liu's shoulder at this time and smiled. Huh? Wishful thinking, Tang Liu refused righteously. Of course, he would not admit that he said this after a cold knife-like, cat, gaze fell on him. Okay, stop making trouble. Xiao San, absorb the spirit ring quickly. Zhao Wuji interrupted everyone at this time and said. Tang San nodded, looked at them solemnly, and said seriously, Thank you for your help. The others also nodded seriously. At this time, Tang Liu's lips moved a little, and he also learned from Tang San's method of forcing sound interline and said to Tang San, Brother, the real cultivation of this human-faced demon spider is about 2,000 years old, but we have that hammer martial spirit, which greatly increases our physical fitness, so there is no problem for you to absorb this spirit ring, but the process will be a little painful, but I believe you can definitely make it. Come on, for Sister Xiao Wu. Tang San paused for a moment when he was sitting cross-legged, his eyes swept towards Tang Liu, nodded slightly, and his expression suddenly became extremely firm. The soul power surged, pulling the soul ring of the human-faced demon spider to his body, and began to absorb the huge soul power in it. For Xiao Wu, Tang Liu watched Tang San absorb this spirit ring nervously. Although he knew that he could make it, he couldn't help but worry in his heart. Tang Liu just sensed it and found that he could absorb the violent energy of the human-faced demon spider's spirit ring with a hail and mark. While taking some of the pressure off Tang San, it did not affect his absorption of the spirit ring. However, he would not act rashly. Because this absorption beyond the age limit also laid the foundation for his fourth spirit ring to absorb the 10,000-year level. Originally, Tang San absorbed the spirit ring normally, but soon the energy around him turned purple-red. The purple was the energy of the human-faced demon spider spirit ring, and the red was the blood gushing out of Tang San's pores all over his body. Fortunately, Tang Liu could feel that Tang San could still hold on, otherwise he would have been unable to resist taking action just by seeing this scene. At this time, Xiao Wu came back. Everyone was surprised and delighted by her return. Tang Liu behaved like everyone else, and did not look like he had just met Xiao Wu not long ago. At this time, Xiao Wu also saw Tang San absorbing the spirit ring, and looked very flustered and surprised. Then she told everyone that the cultivation level of the human-faced demon spider had exceeded 2,000 years. However, Tang San had already absorbed it for so long that it was unrealistic to stop it, so now he could only pray that Tang San could hold on. Then, Xiao Wu also said the excuse she had thought of on the way, and brought up the Ming dynasty to explain why she was able to escape from the Titan giant ape. She also said that she was lucky to enter the 30th level, and was lucky to obtain her third spirit ring, which made everyone stunned. Afterwards, Xiao Wu also listened to Zhao Wuji briefly recounting the matter of Tang San coming to chase her. Although Tang Liu had told her before, she couldn't help crying when she heard it again. It was probably because when Tang Liu went to find her just now, she was more panicked about her identity being discovered, and felt confused about leaving Tang San. Finally, the violent energy of the human-faced demon spider spirit ring gradually dissipated and began to merge with Tang San's blue-silver grass martial spirit. Seeing this, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. But Tang Liu didn't relax at all, because he knew that there was still an external spirit bone waiting to be absorbed by Tang San. Although he absorbed the piece of external soul bone when absorbing the soul ring of the demon eye demon tree, the demon eye demon tree had been beaten to death by Tang Hao before that. Although it had no spiritual intelligence, it was also instinctively trembling, so it voluntarily merged with Tang Liu, so Tang Liu did not feel any discomfort when absorbing the soul ring or the external soul bone. But this human-faced demon spider was different. It was very upset about its own death and didn't understand why it died in the hands of Tang San. In addition, animal soul beasts have good spiritual intelligence after 1,000 years, so they naturally have great resentment towards Tang San. Naturally, it was so difficult for Tang San to absorb the soul ring and soul bone. Just when everyone was relieved, Tang San, who was sitting cross-legged, suddenly let out a scream, and then his shirt suddenly exploded, and 8 3-meter-long spider legs grew out from his back. When these 8 spider legs appeared, Tang San's body no longer spasmed, and he seemed to be much more comfortable. Fortunately, Zhao Wuji asked everyone to step back in advance, otherwise they would be stabbed by the spider legs that suddenly appeared. Isn't this the spider leg of the human-faced demon spider? Oscar looked at the human-faced demon spider next to him, and then looked at the spider legs behind Tang San, and said in surprise. After the spider legs appeared, Tang San's body leaned forward, and then the 8 spider legs supported his body and slowly lifted him up. Then, the blue-silver grass in his palm suddenly grew, and then wrapped him up like a big cocoon. What's going on now? Could it be that Xiao-san is going to become a monster? Dai Mubei asked in confusion. Ma Hongjin couldn't help but say, will Tang San become a big spider? Xiao Wu glared at them fiercely and said, impossible, how could Xiao-san become a spider? It should be that the spirit ring he absorbed has undergone some mutation to cause this situation. He will definitely be fine, Tang Liu also said at this time. That's right, don't talk nonsense if you don't have knowledge. He rolled his eyes at Dai Mubei and Ma Hongjin. Ma Hongjin was a little unconvinced. Then tell me, what is going on? Tang Liu had a look of disgust, and then said, this is called an external soul bone, which is second only to 100,000-year soul beast, and it is the dream of soul masters, external soul bone. Not to mention the students, even Zhao Wuji heard of this term for the first time. Chapter 74, Introducing Soul Bones. Tang Liu nodded and said, "Do you know about soul bones? Generally speaking, soul masters can absorb and fuse 6 soul bones, namely the skull, trunk bones, and limb soul bones, a total of 6. Generally speaking, the head soul bone refers to the part of our skull, the trunk bone refers to the spine, and the limb soul bones are the left and right forearms, and the left and right calf bones. In addition to these soul bones, if you are lucky enough to obtain other soul bones, they are external soul bones. In addition to growing and upgrading the quality of external soul bones with a soul master's practice, they can also be released to the outside world and turned into weapons, or other very practical things." Oscar suddenly said, "Just like the spider legs behind Xiao San now." Tang Liu nodded and said, "Yes. If I'm not mistaken, my brother's spider legs are actually his ribs. And now you see, he is supported by the spider legs and can walk without himself. Think about it, what if he uses these spider legs to replace his legs, that is, in addition to flying, an all-terrain travel weapon?" Oscar's eyes lit up and said, "That's right. Think about it again, if my brother uses this spider leg as a spear to attack others, what kind of scene will that be?" Everyone stopped talking, looking at the spider leg behind Tang San. They all felt a little jealous. "Xiao Liu, then how can we obtain external spirit bones?" Ma Hongjin asked expectantly. "Do you think it's so easy to see external spirit bones? If the probability of a spirit beast producing spirit bones is 1 in 10,000, then the probability of producing external spirit bones is 1 in 100,000. It's rare to see it in 1,000 years, okay?" Tang Liu rolled his eyes at him and said unhappily. Hearing what he said, the hearts of several people cooled down slightly. "However, I do have a method that can obtain external spirit bones with 100% certainty. Do you want to listen?" Tang Liu suddenly laughed at this time. "What?" everyone said almost in unison, even Zhao Wuji's eyes lit up. "Actually, this method is to let a soul beast willingly merge with you. If a soul beast voluntarily merges with you, then it will definitely produce a soul bone. Moreover, this soul bone can be determined by the soul beast itself, so if you encounter it, you can just ask the soul beast to give you an external soul bone." Tang Liu's smile was a little playful. "Tisk, in the end it's still the same as saying nothing," Oscar said first. "That's right, why would the soul beast be willing to merge with you?" Daimyo Bei also said unhappily. "You can't say that." Tang Liu suddenly became serious and said, "Anything is possible in this world. So, let me tell you one more thing now. Although there are so many bones in the human body, we can only absorb those 6 soul bones. And the more complete these 6 soul bones are, the more powerful they are. For example, it's like you get 2 skulls. One of them is only as big as the skull, and the other is a complete head soul bone. At this time, don't hesitate, you must choose the complete one. If that part of the soul bone increases your power by 10, then a complete soul bone will increase your power by 100. In other words, if we can get soul bones in the future, we should choose a whole arm or a whole leg to absorb," Oscar murmured. "That's right, congratulations, you understand," Tang Liu said. "A complete soul bone will definitely have a greater effect on you than an external soul bone. So, if you get soul bones in the future, don't rush to absorb them. First of all, you have to see if this soul bone matches your attributes. Secondly, it depends on the completeness of this soul bone. For example, if you get a leg bone, but it is only 1 centimeter long, then don't rush to absorb it. But if the completeness of the leg bone you get is more than 40%, then you should still absorb it. After all, it is basically impossible to encounter a complete soul bone." Everyone nodded, indicating that they remembered it. "Xiao Liu, how do you know so much?" Xiao Wu looked at Tang Liu with some surprise and said. After all, most of the knowledge just now was not known even to her, 100,000-year soul beast. Tang Liu smiled and said, "I read it in an ancient book that I occasionally flipped through. Do I have to tell you that I am talking about it based on the plot of Hou Hao fusing the Ice Emperor's trunk bone? Okay, you little guys. Now that you have only 2 or 3 rings of cultivation, you are already thinking about soul bones? Aren't you afraid of getting fat?" Zhao Wuji laughed and scolded, "With your current strength, even if you have a soul bone, you can't keep it. If some people with ulterior motives know about it, you have to be careful that you will be killed one day, and then your soul bones will be taken away." "Well, Teacher Zhao is right. I think we should wait until our cultivation is higher before fusing soul bones," Oscar agreed. It seems as if you will definitely get soul bones in the future," Daimyo Bei said mercilessly. So, everyone was playing and watching Tang San absorb the soul bone. It was not until the dawn of the next day that Tang San completed the absorption. When Tang San woke up, Xiao Wu rushed over to hug him and cried. Tang Liu was originally smiling, but when he saw Tang San wiping Xiao Wu's tears with a doting look, he didn't know why he felt a little sour in his heart. Huh? What's going on? Am I jealous of Tang San? Damn, am I actually a brother control? It shouldn't be, it should be that I saw them in pairs and I was a little jealous. That's right, that's it. It's decided that after returning, I will start to implement a plan of traveling around the entire Douluo world to find my dream girlfriend, in short, the dream-seeking plan. Well, it's decided. After a little sentimental, Tang Liu began to instruct Tang San on how to put away the external soul bone. After all, he is also a person with external soul bones, so he can just tell Tang San the experience directly. Afterwards, Tang San showed everyone this huge divine crossbow that he had used to kill the man-faced demon spider. Everyone was amazed at the killing power of this huge divine crossbow, and they couldn't help but feel excited. They all expressed their desire for Tang San to make one for them. Of course, Tang Liu was the exception, because he knew that Tang San would definitely prepare one for him and Xiao Wu. Then, they set out on their way back. After leaving the starred-out Great Forest, everyone felt relieved and relaxed. After resting in the small town for 2 days, they returned to the academy. Quotation mark. Chapter 75 Return to Academy. It was night when they returned to the academy. Zhao Wuji was going to report the situation to Flanders, so he asked the students to go back to sleep. Just like the original novel, Ning Rongrong went to Tang San to discuss the production of hidden weapons, which made Oscar and Xiao Wu a little jealous. Tang Liu left Tang San alone and quickly returned to the dormitory. After taking a comfortable bath with hot water, he went to bed. Of course, Tang San came back as soon as he finished his bath. Tang Liu knew that the master was in Flanders' office now, so he asked Tang San not to ask him to practice the purple demon pupil tomorrow, and then fell asleep. He didn't sleep well in the past few days in the starred-out Great Forest. However, what Tang Liu didn't know was that even if he fell asleep, the system was still brushing bullet screens in his mind, and it could actually allow his soul power to operate automatically for practice. When Tang Liu woke up, it was already around 8 or 9 in the morning. He just woke up, and the door of the dormitory was pushed open, and then Tang San walked in. Xiao Liu, you're awake? That's great. Get up quickly. The dean asked us to gather on the playground. Tang San looked at Tang Liu and smiled. Okay, wait for me, I'll be there soon. Tang Liu rubbed his eyes and sat up from the bed. By the way, Xiao Liu, I have good news for you. The teacher is here too. When Tang San mentioned the master, his tone became much more excited. After all, in these 6 years, the master was like his father. Well, I know, Tang Liu washed calmly, but there was a smile in his eyes. You know, Tang San was a little surprised. You forgot that one of the effects of my third martial spirit is that I can see you. Tang Liu smiled. Tang San suddenly realized, and then pulled Tang Liu, who had just washed, to walk outside, and handed him a steamed bun provided by the cafeteria. Tang Liu was not polite, and took it and started eating. When they arrived at the playground, the students and teachers were already there, and only Tang San and Tang Liu were left. Tang San quickly pulled Tang Liu into the team, and Tang Liu also quickly stuffed the steamed bun into his mouth, so his mouth was bulging, and the action of chewing hard looked like a hamster. The master looked at Tang Liu, smiled slightly, and nodded, as a greeting. Tang Liu also looked at the master with a smile in his eyes. Of course, his mouth was full of steamed buns now, so he couldn't smile. After seeing everyone was present, Flanders spoke. First, I will introduce the teachers of the academy to the 4 new students. The first one was Liu Song, who was in charge of the first round of tests on the day of registration. His martial spirit was the dragon pattern stick and he was a level 63 soul emperor. The second one was an old man in his 70s, named Lu Kibin, whose martial spirit was the starry chess, also a soul emperor, and his soul power was level 66. The last one was a man about the same age as Flanders, who was not outstanding in appearance and was relatively short. His name was Xiaozin, who is a level 71 food-type soul saint and his martial spirit was sugar beans. The appearance of this teacher surprised the students. Finally, it was the turn of the master. After introducing the teachers, Flanders encouraged Ma Hongjin, who had not yet reached Soul Master. Ningrongrong and Zhu Zhuqing continued to work hard and urged Dai Mu Bei, Oscar, Tang San, and Xiao Wu, who had reached level 30, to strive to cultivate to level 40 as soon as possible. As for Tang Liu, Flanders looked at Tang Liu with wide eyes and innocent face, waiting for him to speak, and his face twitched. What should I say to this kid? Encourage him to cultivate to Soul King as soon as possible? But his father won't let me say it. What should I do? Waiting online, it's urgent. Fortunately, the master helped him out, stepped forward, and said lightly, there are only 8 students in the academy. In my opinion, you are also a whole. I have read your information, and I will develop some targeted teaching methods later. In addition to cooperation, I don't want to hear any different voices. No matter who it is, I will treat everyone equally. Since you are students of Shrek Academy, you must be more weird than ordinary soul masters. From now on, everyone who mentions you can only think of the word monster. From now on, the 8 of you will no longer be divided into the initial stage and advanced stage as before, and will be taught in a unified manner. I will rank you according to your age. Number 1, Dai Mu Bei. Number 2, Oscar. Number 3, Tang San. Number 4, Tang Liu. Number 5, Mo Hongjin. Number 6, Xiao Wu. Number 7, Ningrongrong. Number 8, Zhu Zhuqing. After the master finished speaking, he swept his eyes over the students in front of him, and then saw Tang Liu, who raised his hand. Tang Liu, do you have anything to say? The master asked. Master, I'll be a non-staff member. If it doesn't work, let me be Xiaoba. Please don't mess up the order of the 7 monsters. As a person with obsessive-compulsive disorder, I can't stand it. Tang San quickly patted his brother twice. The teacher just said that he didn't want to have different voices, but in the blink of an eye you are arguing. What are you trying to do? Master, don't you want to save face? However, what Tang San did not expect was that the master actually nodded and agreed, saying, I always feel that there is an indescribable strange feeling of you being inserted among them. Since you brought it up, you will be temporarily considered as a non-staff member. Tang Liu's face was immediately full of joy, and he said, thank you, Master. I will definitely make you a Shrek reserve team that is not inferior to the 7 of them. The obsessive-compulsive disorder was immediately relieved. Oh, sweet voice. Then, he took a step back with a happy face, stood behind the 7 monsters, and stated his identity as a non-staff member. In this way, the original positions of the 7 monsters did not change. Number 4 is Ma Hongjin, number 5 is Xiao Wu. Number 6 is Ningrongrong, number 7 is Zhu Zhuqing. After the ranking was done, the master told them not to be late for breakfast tomorrow and to gather here on time, and then let everyone disperse. Tang Liu, come with me, I have something to ask you. Before leaving, the master stopped Tang Liu and said, okay, master, no problem, master. Tang Liu followed happily. The master led Tang Liu all the way to his office and got straight to the point. Is your father okay? Tang Liu nodded and said, yes, he's fine, he can eat and drink, fight and resist, but his injuries are a bit serious. I'll wait for the day when I reach the 6th ring to find an emerald swan to treat him. The master nodded slightly, and then said, do you know where he is now? I don't know. Tang Liu shook his head. After he sent me here, he left. I don't know where he went. He appeared when he beat Zhao Wuji. Okay, now release your martial spirit for me to see. I just heard Flanders mention it casually yesterday, the master said. Tang Liu didn't say much, and directly released his virtual spirit Blue Silver Emperor. 1 yellow, 1 purple, and 1 black. The strong color contrast of the 3 soul rings violently impacted people's vision. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.